What's going on, fellow A-plusers? It's your host, as always, Adam Perez, back once again for a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live to you guys over on our YouTube page today, Facebook, as well as Twitch for you gamers out there, guys. So certainly, thank you for definitely joining us here for what looks to be a gorgeous Sunday morning here in good old Fort Worth, Texas. So wherever you guys are at, hopefully you're having some amazing weather, really enjoying the fall experience, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes here in Texas, I feel like it goes from summer directly into winter from time to time. So the fact that we actually have ourselves a nice seasonal change out here, it's been fantastic to certainly say the least. So wherever you guys are at, thank you for certainly joining us. It's fantastic to go ahead and have an opportunity to sit down here with you guys and talk some amazing topics. We got 6 topics right off the bat for you guys. We're going to be getting into some fantastic Wonder Man news as the lead has in fact been cast. We're going to talk about that. It looks like we got more casting news in regards to the upcoming Agatha Coven of Chaos. And then of course into some DC news for you guys as Henry Cavill speaks out a little bit more about Superman along with James Gunn, and much more for you guys. So certainly stick around. We got 6 topics for you guys. Afterwards, we'll definitely go ahead and get to your guys' live viewer questions, and we'll kick off our show with some honorable mentions. Some topics that we didn't quite make the cut, but felt that you certainly deserve to know what was going on. So it should certainly be a fantastic show. And listen, guys, we're switching it up here a little bit today. Unfortunately, Stuart could not be joining us, but in his place, coming back, making his return, ladies and gentlemen, the good old Indy Uchiha. What's going on, brother? It's so good to see you, man.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. You have no idea. You know how I feel about Hero Report, man.
I know, man. I feel like when you can't make it, I feel like your Sundays are just completely ruined.
Yeah. This is the only pod I ever do that I will schedule a new job around if I can have Sundays off. So yeah, your boy's leaving Team Blue. I'm going to Team Red just because they're giving me Sundays off.
That's Team Red. Who is Team Red for you?
Verizon.
Good old Verizon. Very nice. I know. I just ended my Verizon subscription to Indy. I had been like a subscriber for like it felt like 20 years, but it just got too expensive for me, man. So I had to switch over to T-Mobile. But I do miss Verizon. I do love Verizon in general, though.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Magenta. Magenta treats where Magenta works in big cities. You know what I'm saying? Big areas like you're in. They're good and they take care of their customers. It's just they don't like Midwesterns.
You know, I will say this: when I was with Verizon, I felt like I had service anywhere, bro. Like people would be amazed, like they wouldn't have service, and they'd be like, "Anybody got service around here?" I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with y'all guys' phone, but right here, man. But I used to love Verizon Signal all the time.
Yeah, great definitely. Stuff. But we'll see what happens. The only reason I just switched to their service, only reason is because employee discount.
Ooh, nice. What's the percentage? You get a nice percentage?
50% off.
Ooh, okay.
So
that's tempting, man. Well, it's fantastic to have you here, Indy. Thank you so much, man, for certainly coming through. Should certainly be a fantastic show. I see you got some pups around there, huh?
Yeah, I got
a little tail.
Yeah, I got Duke, my stepdaughter's chocolate lab. She went out to go do some shopping for her birthday, so I'm babysitting right now.
Nice, man. Nice.
As long as he doesn't eat that litter, I'm good.
Give it time. Yeah, I'm sure we've got a keen eye on it right now. I'm pretty sure we'll see him digging into it within the next 2 hours. So should be good. Speaking of birthdays, I actually just celebrated my son's first birthday yesterday. His birthday technically isn't until tomorrow, but we did celebrate it 2 days early yesterday. Had ourselves a Sesame Street theme.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I mean, I loved having the whole entire family around. Cindy's family really came through. Her mom and her sister really just made a fantastic just showing of his first birthday party. We had a piñata for him too. A bunch of kids were hanging out with him and stuff. It was a really fun time. The smash cake that Cindy's sister made for us. The smash cake portion of the birthday didn't go so well. I don't think he really dug the idea of getting his hands all into the icing. He's kind of particular about textures, man.
Yeah, my daughter was the same way. Like on her first, she didn't rock with the smash cake at all.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nah. She doesn't like icing. She just wanted the cake. So like she got a hand that she was just like this the whole time, and then you just had to like feed her the cake because she didn't want the icing.
That's so funny because, like, even my kid, when we put like bananas and strawberries and stuff, like he'll play with the textures and he'll just sit there and he'll crush it in his hands. No big deal. But yeah, something about the icing just kind of threw him off. He got his hands all messy and he just started crying. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? So yeah, and then he got it all over me as well. But it was fun times, man. I just can't believe a year has passed since the birth of my son. I mean, it talks about how time truly flies, man.
Bro, it goes fast. I looked up, my daughter was 2, and I was like, okay, she'll be 3 next year. I don't, and then I was like, that means I'm gonna be 40. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I just want to stop counting. Just
Yeah,
like that.
that's all we got to do, Indy. You know, I'm about to be 40 this year, next month, and at this point, I've just kind of lost track of it. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna keep my head down and just keep pushing forward, man. But yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us. It should be a fantastic show here today. I do want to give some quick shout outs to people that are in the live chat with us. We got good old Enrique Perez, probably a cousin of mine from somewhere down our lineage. Who certainly knows? Marcelino Vasquez is certainly in the house. Francois Dupont is definitely here also, along with good old Adam Perea. The most talented man in the world has graced us with his presence. We got Chris Crossman in the house with us as well. Good old Dino Knight certainly coming through. Alexander's in the house, along with good old Jackson Peterson, not to be mistaken with Peter Jackson. Good old Jericho Gonzalez in the house with us. We got Carlo here as well. Michael Rhymes, what's up, buddy? Good to see you also. Good old Carter Matthews here with us today. Morgan Hutchinson, what's up? Thank you so much for spending your weekend with us. We got Adrian in the house. Abase is here with us today. Good old Kurt Marino also. John Schuyler, good to see you in here, buddy. Nicole Robertson has certainly joined us as well. We got Roberto Bueno in the house. And because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, Jack Daniels has decided to certainly join us also. Datilla in the house, who I believe Datilla just recently went to a Spider-Man exhibit or something like that they had over in Cali. Maybe she can tell us a little bit more about that. We got Blossom in the house. Marcelino's super stoked to have you back, Indy. He says, yay, Indy's back, but then he'll eventually leave somewhere halfway or near the end of the streams. He just abandoned us, Indy. You abandoned us, Indy.
I don't mean it. Like I said, when you got kids and stuff running around, sometimes you're like, hey, as far as you know, I'm a Power Ranger. Zordon called me to come do something, and I had to leave.
Absolutely. You got to keep that secret identity. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what he does when he's away from camera. But thank you so much, guys, for definitely joining us. Let's go ahead and kick off this show, Indy. Let's go ahead and get started, man, because we got a packed episode, to say the least. Honorable mentions, man. Kicking it off with some honorable mentions. Do you happen to have an honorable mention for today's show?
One I don't know if anybody is interested in, but it's special to me, man. There's a Sasuke manga out right now.
Okay.
And the first issue, the second issue just came out this past weekend, but the first issue actually surpassed the sales of what Naruto, the Boruto manga had done. So it was surprising that the Sasuke fans came out in droves and basically showing everybody what we actually want to see in the content. And then they let us down in the second issue and show us Sasuke fighting a dinosaur. So yeah, high praise just to hit low lows, but American readers are really getting into mangas and not just the anime, and it's just amazing. And I personally think a lot of it has to do with the comic book resurgence and just people actually getting that print and reading that print. They're actually going out and getting those mangas. So to me, it's a good thing. I'd rather read than watch, unless it's Game of Thrones. So I have to give praise where praise is due.
I appreciate that, man. That's pretty cool. I appreciate that honorable mention. When's the next episode of Anime Assemble that you guys are going to be doing?
Next episode of Anime Assemble is actually next Saturday, and then the Bleach review for episode 4 of the 1,000-Year Blood Arc goes up Monday.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, we're trying to increase a little bit of anime content for you guys. I know John and Indy been doing a fantastic job when it comes to Anime Assembled, so they have themselves a brand new episode dropping this week. And I believe we've got episodes 1 through 3 of the brand new Bleach series, the review from Indy or John. You might be, surprised who you ever pop into for any of these particular reviews. But if you are big anime fans, we do have some content for you guys here on the channel. Let's see here. A couple other honorable mentions for us to keep you guys updated on things. We got The Last of Us. This actually has crept up on me really quickly, Indy. I feel like this HBO Max original series is going to be here before we know it. If you guys happen to miss the release date, it will be January 15th. So January 15th on HBO Max, the highly acclaimed video game gets a live action adaptation. So The Last of Us, January 15th. Mark your calendars there as they drop that brand new poster as well. Other news for other popular Netflix series or just series in general, The Sandman has in fact been renewed for a second season. You know what's, Indy? I have not finished the first season of Sandman. I wind up finding myself just getting distracted and pulled away to watch other stuff. But I got the opportunity to go to Dallas Fan Festival last, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and that plays Dream in here, Tom Sturgeon. He actually did a fantastic Q&A panel. He didn't mention at the time as to whether or not they were going to get themselves a season 2, but according to Deadline, season 2 is on the way. So it did win itself a renewal. And I think when it comes to Netflix series, if we don't hear anything immediately, I think we just automatically worry when it comes to Netflix's it's I want to say it's how quickly they get rid of series sometimes. You know what I mean? So definitely was worrisome for some fans, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not for stuff leaving quickly, especially when I get attached to it. So I'm not happy about that. Like, why can't every show be like the other stuff that's on Netflix? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's some stuff on Netflix that's been on Netflix since Netflix has begun,
Has begun,
and
yeah.
and it should have been ended. And
Have
then
you?
this,
Oh, go ahead.
you talking about Sandman?
Yeah, I was curious if you had checked it out for yourself, especially considering it being a DC property.
I watched the first 3 episodes, and then Titans came back, and I got
Mm.
distracted.
Yeah, Titans definitely did drop this week. I got to go ahead and check out episode 1. So I'll definitely, if anything, I do plan on reviewing Titans for you guys here on the channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. Another honorable mention, Indy, I'm actually kind of surprised that the Walking Dead franchise is still continuing on as much as it has been. I've fallen off, unfortunately, after the first like Negan season. I think is where I eventually fell off at, but it definitely continued to power through. I think I continue to find myself even more surprised that the spinoff, The Fear of the Walking Dead, is like in its 8th season or 7th season or something bananas like that. I have fallen off so much from this franchise, but it clearly has a massive viewership to not only continue, but to have additional spinoffs headed our way. And this week, we wind up getting some promotional images here for some of the upcoming spinoffs. We got 3 brand new ones headed our way, Indy. We got Dead City, which tackles Maggie and Negan, I believe, in New York City, of all places. Like, this fascinates me in the sense of 2 things. One, because of the fact that I haven't kept up with The Walking Dead, I have no idea how Maggie and Negan are even talking after what he did to Glenn after all these years. But also the idea of a city setting for sort of the zombie apocalypse is pretty intriguing to me. So we got Dead City. We also got the Daryl Dixon series, as he winds up, apparently the synopsis is he finds himself mysteriously in Paris, France, of all places. How he gets to Paris, France, I have no idea. I believe this series originally was supposed to be Daryl and somebody else. I can't remember. Was it Carol? I believe it was like a Daryl and Carol series.
Yeah, they were talking about Daryl and Carol.
And I think she wound up walking away from the series. Maybe she's retired as an actress, or she just was done in that role. Who knows? But Daryl Dixon is getting his own series as well. So that's the second spinoff. And then last but not least, we've got Rick and Michonne. I thought this was supposed to be like a limited series or like 3 movies or something, but it says new series here for Rick and Michonne. And the actress that plays Michonne, I believe she's actually going to be one of the writers for this series also. This is the one that probably has me the most intrigued, just because, one, I love these 2 characters, and I've been waiting for Andrew Lincoln to return for quite some time now.
Yeah, I think I fell off of Walking Dead the season, right? I didn't even get to see it. The season that Rick supposedly died.
Oh, okay.
And honestly,
I missed that
I
too.
was a huge Walking Dead fan. I love the fact that they're able. This is how you properly expand a world. When the written material, the source material, has ended.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They do a real good job at expanding the world without the source material. And I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't like what was going on. It was the fact that we had so many CW shows added at that time that something had to give. And I always felt like I could go back and watch The Walking Dead later and not miss anything. And then Fear of the Walking Dead came out, and I just got lost in. I'm like, I'm not watching all of this.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. And I was like, cool, I'll check it later. Now, this announcement makes me want to go back to Netflix and pick up where I left off at
Yeah.
and check out and see what's going on, because man, uh Andrew Lincoln coming back is a big plus for me. You know what I'm saying? Because he was my favorite character on the show. I know
Yeah, me too.
I'm sorry for all you Daryl Dixon fan ladies. Calm down. Calm down. There's nothing wrong with Daryl, but for me, he was not in the source material, so he's just an extra character for me. And I'm actually interested in that Dead City.
Mm.
Um, just to see how that relationship will work, because Negan's character, from what I heard, evolved into something, you know what I'm saying, amazing. And I want to see where that's going, because I got tired of, like you, I kind of got tired of the same old Negan. You know what I'm saying? And if that character developed into somebody that could actually, you know what I'm saying, be friends or co-workers with the wife of the dude's head he smashed in.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm interested to see what type of character development happened to make that possible.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you there, and I definitely have the same feeling in the sense of like, man, maybe I should revisit some of these series and get caught up a little bit more. So yeah, those are brand new spin-offs headed your way, guys. Next up, the Acolyte is back in the news as its highly anticipated Star Wars series. New casting information just came out this past week. You guys will certainly remember her, the fantastic actress in Daphne Keene. The last time you probably saw her was in the Logan series as X-23, or the Logan movie, I should certainly say. She was just recently also in the HBO Max series, His Dark Materials. I only checked out the first season of that, but from what I hear, she does an amazing job in it. But Daphne Keene has been cast in The Acolyte. No particular information as to what role that she's going to play. But it has me hoping that she's like a Sith apprentice or something. I would love to see her as a Sith apprentice at some point in time. But Daphne Keene will be in The Acolyte. And last but not least, Indy, Avatar wind up dropping a brand new trailer here this week. I did myself a reaction and quick thoughts video on the Way of the Water official trailer that we wind up having earlier this week. I've given my thoughts on the official trailer, but I want to go ahead and get your thoughts on it. I know you haven't necessarily been the biggest fan of the Avatar franchise in general, but we've started to see more articles, more footage of this particular film. What did you think of the official trailer? Did it win you over? You still a snooze fest for you, as you alluded to?
Snooze fest. But I'm gonna tell you what did me win me over. Your reaction. Because I feel like this is something that I have to go into with open eyes from like your perspective. You know what I'm saying? And watch to be able to hold an intelligent conversation with you on what this movie is. So I'm going to go see this movie for Mr. A plus opinion, Adam Perez, and nobody else. And if I don't like the movie, I will ask for my
You're gonna blame me?
1995 back that I spent on my $8 popcorn and my movie ticket.
We need to get you
No,
an AMC Stubbs A-list, man.
no. This actually looks interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle the length of the movie,
Oh yeah, it's
but
like 3+ hours, right?
yeah, but to me, anytime I watch the original Avatar, I just feel like they ripped off Fern Gully. So that's what I go in looking. But I'm interested in seeing what type of story they can bend out of the last movie that they had. So I'm willing to give it a chance. I was just not a fan of I wasn't a fan of the fanfare over the first, you know what I'm saying, over the first movie. Yeah, it was some cool tech that they use and stuff like that, but I was more the person of, let's give the dude in the Godzilla suit praise, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that for what they had to go through. But we'll see what happens. I might go see the movie and just totally enjoy it. They might actually have, to me, what to me is a better story. It just seemed like Fern Gully and Pocahontas, you know what I'm saying, blended together, and they threw effects on it.
No, I get you. I feel like that's the critique I hear a lot is the fact that a lot of people feel like Avatar, when you strip away the technology aspect of things, ends up being just another generic film. You know what I mean? But for me, I will say this in regards to the trailer. While it didn't blow me away, I think if you watch my reaction, I'm not sitting there like, ooh, like it wasn't anything crazy. But I think for me, there was just like a wholesome aspect about it, about the idea of having to return to this particular world, seeing like visually just it being stunning. I felt like the trailer moved me in the sense of really wanting to kind of just go back to that world and see these characters, and seeing that Jake now has himself a family. The idea of seeing even his wife hunting while she's pregnant, and like just the little things of her pulling the bow back kind of getting in the way of her stomach and her having to kind of readjust. It kind of brought a wholesome family vibe to this massive world that we're getting the opportunity to explore even more of. That's the type of stuff that it kind of fascinated me in that sense of just enjoying returning to this planet. I don't know what story they're really going to be tackling in here. But the one thing I always say is leave it up to James Cameron to really be able to tackle universal themes extremely well. And so while I think it may be kind of a generic film for most people, I do think that there's concepts and storylines and ideas within the film that I think a lot of people can attach themselves to, or at least relate to in a certain aspect. So for me, it'll be interesting to go back here, but we'll see how the movie itself turns out. December 16th, guys. I don't believe tickets are on sale as of yet. Do you know if tickets are on sale, Indy? Have you seen anything like that?
I seen tickets getting ready to go on sale, like when I passed my AMC, but I
Okay.
haven't seen like tickets on sale
On sale.
yet.
So keep an eye out on that, guys. But yeah, December 16th is the big day. And that will do it for honorable mentions today. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly coming through. Marcelino says, I purposely avoided the Avatar 2 trailer because trailers today just spoil the entire movie. I don't necessarily felt like this one spoiled the movie, though. I think it just kind of lays the basis down, or like the premise of the film, but I didn't feel like this particular official trailer spoiled anything. I would say maybe the second official trailer that we get, maybe beware, viewer beware is what I would certainly say there. Did you feel like it spoiled anything for you, Indy?
I don't feel like it spoiled anything at all. I feel like nowadays trailers are made up to where we have no idea what's going to happen. Half the stuff that's in the trailer doesn't even happen in the movie now.
That's true. I think Marvel's become like the master of that, of the misdirect. All right, guys. With that out of the way, that does wrap up all of our honorable mentions. And if anything, I think it's time for us to go ahead and tackle our main topics. I think we got some amazing ones here, Indy. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. You ready to go ahead and tackle these with me?
Let's go.
First up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into our Marvel bag. We'll start off today with some Marvel talk for you guys. One of the series that had recently got announced certainly perked up my ears, and that is Marvel Studios' Wonder Man. At the heart of Wonder Man, I believe we have Destin Daniel Cretton, the filmmaker that went ahead and did Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. He was on board to be the showrunner and co-writer for this particular series that we're going to be getting. I believe he might be directing a couple of episodes here or there. I'm not quite sure, but ever since we've gotten the announcement about Wonder Man, we haven't really necessarily gotten too much news. But this past week, I feel like the floodgates have definitely opened up in regards to this upcoming Wonder Man series. If anything, I'll probably have Indy at some point in time here as we discuss this to kind of give us his thoughts in regards to the Wonder Man character, maybe a quick breakdown of the character for you guys, because he is a very new character when it comes to the MCU. If you followed the Marvel comic books at all, he's definitely not like an A level, B level kind of character, if you will. But when it comes to Marvel, they always do a fantastic job of elevating a lot of these characters. And so this past week, we finally got ourselves the lead actor that's going to be playing Mr. Simon Williams himself, aka a Wonder Man. And this was quite the surprise, to say the least, Indy, as a Deadline is in fact reporting that Yahya Abdul-Mateen II has been tapped to lead the Marvel series for Disney. This news, again, comes to us from deadline.com. And let's go ahead and get into this, Indy, because I think this is fantastic news. I feel like also just Yahya, his star just continues to rise at this point for me. Like I do look at him as a star in Hollywood at this point. I can't even say his star is on the rise because he's just landed himself some amazing opportunities, whether that be Black Manta and Aquaman, whether that be him as Candyman. I feel like we've seen him. He was also in the Watchmen series, if I'm not mistaken, as Dr. Manhattan also. So Yahya definitely brings not only a top level sort of performance, anytime his name is certainly mentioned. But when it comes to the comic book world or anything that needs to be adapted, he definitely has made a name for himself. So this is an exclusive report. It says coming off some of the best reviews of his career for his work on Broadway's revival of the Pulitzer Prize winning Susan Laurie Parks play Top Dog Underdog, Yahya Abdul-Mateen is preparing to move over from DC to Marvel as the lead for the studio's Disney Plus series Wonder Man. I had no idea that he was even on Broadway now. So really even expanding his reach, if you will, in regards to what he's getting himself into. It says the live-action Wonder Man series was first announced as entering development in June with Shang-Chi, Helmer, Destin, Daniel Cretton, and the Hawkeye co-producer Andrew Guest, both announcing their involvement. Cretton will direct and executive produce, with Guest serving as head writer. As previously announced, the show will see the return of Oscar winner Ben Kingsley's Trevor Slattery as well. Last time we saw Trevor Slattery, he was also in the Shang-Chi movie. The supervillain turned good guy known as the Mandarin, who appeared in Iron Man 3 and in Shang-Chi. It does say that Abdul-Mateen is best known for his superhero sphere for his work on HBO's Watchmen, having won his first Emmy back in 2020 for his turn as Carl Abar, Dr. Manhattan. I didn't even know he won an Emmy for that role. Extremely well-deserved, if you ask me. I thought he was amazing in that. It says the actor also tied himself to Aquaman. He's going to be returning as Black Manta in the Aquaman series sequel also. And he also popped up in The Matrix Resurrections. I forgot about that one, Indy, along with the trial of the Chicago 7. So he's just been doing some amazing work, to say the least. And he has now been tapped and brought into the MCU. And this gets me extremely excited. So, Indy, I will throw this to you first. Since you are finally back here, I definitely want to go ahead and get your thoughts, not only on the casting of this, but please give us some background and some information in regards to the Wonder Man character, if you will. So what are your thoughts, man?
It's amazing. I love this. I feel like it's the perfect casting for the character. A lot of people might not like the fact that it's an African American male being cast, you know what I'm saying, as Wonder Man, but it's a multiverse. So, you know what I'm saying, that doesn't bother me. There's somewhere out there where Wolverine is a cat. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying, I'm not too worried about that. But Wonder Man, to me, I think this casting is bigger than what people might believe if they know a little bit about the history of Wonder Man, Mr. Simon Williams, because he was an Avenger, a West Coast Avenger, a Defender. He worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., Lethal Legion, the Masters of Evil, you know what I'm saying, the Revengers. He's been around when it comes to it. The most interesting thing that I feel has a direct tie to this character being casted is I think it was like Avengers like 102 or something like that. But it was back in the day. We talk about like the early 70s. Um, he made like a cameo, but it was just like the body. He was like in a comatose state, and he ended up being revived by Kang. You know what I'm saying? And being used against the Avengers. So it's going to be interesting if they take a little bit of that leeway and use that, especially with these big Kang-esque movies that we have coming up, the way that they love to tie, you know what I'm saying, comic lore and twist it in the way they want it to be. But another key figure to me in this, especially with the rumors of Iron Man possibly coming back, is that uh, the man who is Wonder Man, Simon Williams, he was the son of like this rich uh like what you say industrialist,
Oh yeah.
um that his father owned a munitions factory, and the munitions factory ended up going out of business due to Tony Stark and Stark Industries. So Simon ends up trying to like embezzle funds to try to keep the factory alive, ends up being caught and incarcerated, and then he ends up blaming Tony Stark for what's going on, and then ends up accepting like a proposition that Baron Zemo gave him. And it involves the Enchantress, like all this stuff gets coming on. He ends up getting tied up with Vision, the West Coast Avengers, Hank Pym, Ultron, Doctor Doom. He has a, although he's like a C-list character or a B-list character, there's a lot that he has that encompasses when it comes to the Marvel universe that could transition over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, man, I absolutely do agree. He's got some amazing I always a big fan of Wonder Man, but I think for me, he really even took even further shape when we wind up getting him into his like ionic form.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a big fan of this particular design, especially from one of my favorite artists in George Perez. I felt like he drew him in just an amazing way, unlike any other form I had seen him in before. But I was always a big fan. This is like a later form of Simon Williams Wonder Man, him fully embracing the ionic form at some point in time. But yeah, you did a fantastic job in breaking down the Wonder Man history and just really showing how massive an involvement that Yahya Abdul-Mateen here as Wonder Man could potentially have. For me, I'm a big fan of this particular casting. I can't wait to see what he does in this role. If you ask me, if anything, I would be kind of curious to see do they introduce him sort of as a villain to the Avengers first off? I mean, I think that's how we're first initially introduced to him, if I'm not mistaken, as a villain towards the Avengers, but then he eventually does befriend them and become a member of the team itself. I think this is also the series itself, the way they've talked about it, or at least have hinted at it, that it might be kind of like a satire towards Hollywood. Wonder Man might actually be an actor of some sort. I believe that's what his role was in like the West Coast Avengers to a certain extent. So if when they start talk about the Hollywood satire, there is something pretty fascinating about it. Like I do wonder, one of the things Indy I was trying to predict or at least speculate on in regards to how they would pull this off. I almost wonder if Simon Williams is an actor and say the Wonder Man is his character that he's playing. Like maybe they're creating like a Wonder Man movie or something like that, and he's playing that character. So I do wonder if there's a little bit of a over the topness to Yahya as Wonder Man, but then maybe perhaps something actually happens to him and he winds up acquiring powers or whatever the case may be. Like, the idea that there's pushback on the idea of Yahya being a black guy and Wonder Man in the comic books being white. Look, we've seen the race bending and stuff over the years when it comes to certain characters, so that kind of stuff doesn't phase me. But I do think that there's more here to this, and I don't necessarily think he's just going to be playing Wonder Man as we know him to be as Wonder Man. I have a feeling maybe we'll see him in the superhero form to go ahead and start off the movie. But there's something that I think that maybe by the end of this film, I have a feeling he might fit more the ionic form if anything. I think visually it would be pretty cool if they were able to pull this off in the MCU. We have seen Yahya before don a different color as blue as Dr. Manhattan, so he has kind of played these very CG heavy characters before. So I do think that there would be a really cool blend of being able for us to see Wonder Man as, say, his character first and foremost, maybe playing it up as he's like for some reason I think of like Last Action Hero with like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I would love to see Yahya as Wonder Man in that sort of character role, but then maybe something happens to him and he winds up becoming the ionic form of him, and maybe that's how things turn out for him. I don't know, that's just speculation on my part and something I would certainly love to see. So I do think that there is plenty here for Yahya to definitely sink his teeth into. One of the other aspects that really fascinate me too, Indy, is the idea of the connection that we usually have when it comes to a love triangle between him, Wanda, along with the Vision. Now, in the comic books, correct me if I'm wrong, Indy, but I believe Vision is created with the brain waves of Simon Williams. And that's where Vision gets sort of his personality traits. Clearly, Vision and Wanda fall in love with one another. But once something happens with Vision and it's just Wanda by himself, I believe it's Simon Williams that winds up falling in love with Wanda, and they both wind up falling in love with each other once again, which makes sense. I mean, if Vision has the mindset and personality of Simon, you can see why Simon and Wanda at some point in time would become a couple. So I am kind of intrigued to see if they include that in here in any way, especially with Elizabeth Olsen and how we last saw her in Doctor Strange 2. I don't know how they plan on certainly bringing her back. But while there may not be a love interest in this series, I do find it fascinating that they're even introducing the concept of a Simon Williams in here in the first place. How he will eventually play a bigger role when it comes to Scarlet Witch and the Vision, that I don't know, but I do find it interesting that we've got a Wonder Man series and a Vision Quest series in the works, and I do wonder if any of those will end up being connected in some way or another. Right? We got a Vision going around right now that doesn't quite know who he is. It'll be interesting if maybe Vision winds up acquiring the brainwaves of Simon Williams at some particular point in time. But the idea of Wonder Man being white in the comics doesn't bother me, just because I've seen Wonder Man take so many different forms before in the comics that I do think that Yahya Abdul-Mateen would fit this character perfectly. And I think it gives him an opportunity to stretch out his range a little bit when it comes to performances. So I think we're going to have some fun seeing him in that Hollywood satire role along with the superhero role. And I'm hoping it's more ionic form than anything when it comes to this character in the MCU. But I'm really open to anything, Indy. So I think this is great news, man, and really excited to see somebody as talented as Yahya now finally in the MCU. I think he's going to have a fantastic time here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't think Yahya takes this role without something big, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
happening with it. And with the type of power set, like you said, that somebody like Wonder Man has, is going to be amazing because he's dang near immortal. It's like it's to me, it's like Silver Surfer-esque levels of power when it comes to Yahya with his energy manipulation, his immortality, teleportation, shape shifting. I think he has healing factor. I think he can change his size. Speed, like the normal speed, agility, stamina, superhuman strength. Like he has everything that you could possibly want in a superhero, or what you could possibly not want to face as a villain.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I don't think he comes on board for this just to get like a series out of it. You know what I mean? I do think that they probably have much bigger plans for him. I did have this idea in my head that I thought it would be pretty interesting. In the comic books, it's Vision that winds up having the brain waves of Simon. I do wonder also if there's a sense of maybe they flip that here in the MCU. Like maybe even Wonder Man. What if Wonder Man's not even like a real person? Like what if after the events of WandaVision, right? They are upset because of the fact that they lost Vision, because they were trying to rebuild Vision, right? And put him back together to work for him. What if after they lost Vision, they decided, let's just change course. Let's not recreate a Vision. Let's create ourselves a Wonder Man. And what if they gave this Wonder Man a personality, and this personality was that of Vision? And they implanted it into Simon Williams, and Simon Williams goes out there, android of his own, maybe, who knows? Maybe he becomes an actor and he's got the superhero persona about him. Maybe that's where Ben Kingsley's, Trevor Slattery comes in. Maybe he's like a co-lead in this Wonder Man movie or something like that. Just something over the top. It would be interesting for somebody like a Wanda to eventually come in and maybe fall for Simon. I don't know. I just will say this. I want to see a love triangle at some point between these three. I feel like it's got to happen, man. It's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, definitely be looking for something like that. That'll be an interesting twist in the story, especially with when you bring Wanda back and having her get over whatever she's got over, and being thrust and having to deal with something like that is some weird but entertaining character development.
Very weird stuff. Very weird stuff. We'll see how much actually gets adapted, though.
Yeah, she has a thing for androids. We need to send her to like Androids Anonymous and tell her you need something that's really flesh and blood, sister. Like,
yeah, let's
Cap is right there.
Yeah, let's have you a chance to make some real babies. You want a real family? We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And speaking of Wonder Man, not only has Yahya Abdul-Mateen been cast, but Indy, there's actually some reports out there that we might have ourselves an additional casting. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you. This actually comes to us from the Illuminati. I wanted to go ahead and get ahead of this news just before maybe like Deadline and Variety and them start reporting this, because I do believe that there is something to this. The Illuminati is saying that Wonder Man production is eyeing Bob Odenkirk as a particular secret role in here. And you guys have probably seen him from Better Call Saul, along with Breaking Bad and so many other fantastic movies that he's certainly been a part of. But it does say here, it says, will Bob Odenkirk join the Wonder Man series? It says, before we talk about the news, let's go over a little, never mind. He's going to go over some, they were going to go over some, it says managers are paid, of course, counsel. Where does this information at? Hold on a second. Sometimes I hate the way that they put together or form their articles in here, man. Like, they take forever to get to the point of their articles, to be quite honest with you. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. Man, those dogs are having a field day, bro. Oh, here we go. It says our source only told us that Bob Odenkirk is the actor the production wants for a special role in the Wonder Man series. We don't know anything else about this particular role, but based on comic history, Neil Saroyan, who is Simon Williams' agent in the comic books, is a perfect fit. It does say that Neil was introduced in Wonder Man issue #1 as Williams' agents. Though agents and managers are different, the general population would not care if they were interchanged, and it would make sense to use a job title that is a bit more personal. So they're suggesting here that they might be in the looks for Bob Odenkirk to go ahead and play Wonder Man's agent. I kind of dig that. I feel like for Bob, that might be a pretty good fit somewhere. Indy, what do you think, though?
I totally agree with that. I love the way he plays characters, and I think this might be the perfect role for him as far as going into the MCU. The only other thing I can think of him as, to be honest, that fits with me is like wacky lawyer that gets off all the C-list, villains. You know what I'm saying? This person decided to rob a bank in a cat costume. Off. So that'd be interesting to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree. We'll see if this winds up coming to light, but we'll definitely keep you guys up to date when that certainly happens. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But I'm pretty pumped, honestly, in regards to the Wonder Man series as a whole, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Yahya Abdul-Mateen is Wonder Man. Let us know how you guys feel about it. And yeah, we'll go ahead and tackle that later. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic for you guys here. Let's see here. From Wonder Man to our good old Captain America, as Anthony Mackie is back in the news as good old Sam Wilson. I feel like a lot of movement has been happening in between Captain America 4 along with Thunderbolts. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking to you guys about the addition to the MCU and Harrison Ford, who has in fact been recast to go ahead and play, or I should say, Thunderbolt Ross has been recast and will in fact be played by Harrison Ford, certainly going forward. And it seems as though we're going to get the opportunity to see Thunderbolt Ross not just in Thunderbolts, but clearly also in Captain America 4. And if you guys remember any of the history between General Ross and our Avengers, hasn't been the most pleasant, especially since the Sokovia Accords. And it seems as though General Ross is getting back into things when it comes to some of our Avengers. In this past week, I believe it was the writers from Captain America 4 or the producer from Captain America 4 that hints at the idea of Captain America and General Ross clashing. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see exactly what we're going to be getting here between these two characters, as we've got two new actors taking these mantles, if you will. But this comes to us from Collider.com. Sam Wilson will clash with Thunderbolt Ross, says the producer Nate Moore, talking about Captain America 4 here. It does say that with Ryan Coogler's sequel, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, just on the horizon, ushering in the bittersweet close to the MCU Phase 4, it's time to begin looking to the future. Phase 5 and 6 were mapped out for the next coming years. Set for a 2024 release was the fourth Captain America sequel, New World Order, marking Anthony Mackie's first full-length debut as the new Captain America. They had the opportunity to sit down with the producer of the film, Nate Moore, for an exclusive tease. Let's see here. It says, though not much was previously disclosed regarding the film's plot, director Julius Ona saying, "I'm really excited to see this man go from a counselor as an ex-army vet to a Falcon to Captain America and bring that set of experiences and that point of view into the decision making that one has to make as this incredibly powerful character in the MCU." They also go on to talk about the idea. Says the producer played coy at first, allowing that they were very happy with the script, but was then plenty forthcoming when asked for a tease, including confirming Harrison Ford as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. This is what he says. He says, "Well, look, Sam Wilson's Captain America, he is going to bring his own team to play. It's no secret that Samuel Stearns is making his return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is fantastic because Tim Blake Nelson's the best. Harrison Ford is taking on the role of General Thaddeus Ross, and to see Sam Wilson and Thunderbolt Ross, which, if you remember, actually threw him in prison at the end of Civil War because he violated the Sokovia Accords, there's going to be some natural sparks there, which I think are going to be really fun." So yeah, it looks like we're definitely going to be having Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie clashing here. And this really gets me hyped, Indy, if I could be quite frank with you, man. Listen, I feel like anytime you get anybody opposite of Harrison Ford, it's pretty intriguing. Like for me, I really want to see the acting chops of Anthony Mackie shine here against somebody that in Harrison Ford that will really raise his performance level, if you ask me. Not to say that Anthony Mackie ever like phones it in or anything like that, but for me, there is something fascinating to see a talent like Anthony Mackie on the opposite side of somebody as popular and polarizing as Harrison Ford. I mean, this guy carries a gravitas around him wherever he certainly is. He captures the screen when he's certainly on there. So to bring his level of experience from all his films as our new General Ross to go ahead and butt heads against a Sam Wilson, I think this is makes for some great drama and really great compelling storytelling, if you ask me. If anything, I do love that the article brings up their connection from Civil War, having arrested and captured Sam Wilson for a short period of time as well due to the Sokovia Accords. But I do think that Harrison Ford's involvement as Ross, not only in Captain America 4, but also Thunderbolts, is really appealing to me, and I think a really big tease that something is coming. I don't necessarily like if you want to recast General Ross. I think they probably could have just recast him as anybody if they certainly wanted to. If he planned on keeping his sort of supporting role, if you will. But I do think that now is General Ross's time to really shine. I think ever since they introduced the Ross character, a lot of us have been hoping for a Red Hulk turn here. And Indy, I just don't think you bring in Harrison Ford just to play Ross. I think you bring him in not only to play Ross and to cause mayhem for poor Sam Wilson and everybody else, but I do think we're going to get ourselves a massive turn here from Thaddeus Ross finally into a Red Hulk. And when you've got the leader as the villain of Captain America 4, we know the leader's attachment to anything Hulk related from the past when it comes to comic books. You look at how Ross might be used when it comes to a Thunderbolts team. If we've got no Avengers, and you need a global threat perhaps to get and put together a team and just put people together like, hey, we've got to face this. Who could that threat be? Maybe they've got to go ahead and take care of a Hulk themselves. I think that would be really fascinating to me. And I do think that's the reason why they bring in Harrison Ford. But if we've got the same writers from Falcon and the Winter Soldier set to go ahead and tackle this Captain America 4 movie, if I'm not mistaken, I think they did some amazing stuff when it comes to drama, societal issues. And if you need to write a scene between Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie, that's a scene that I really want to sink my teeth into because I think we're going to get some amazing, amazing content out of this, Indy. So I'm pumped for this, man. I'm pumped to see Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford on screen together. But you hear this, you read this article. What are some of the things that you're kind of hoping for from this involvement of Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie together on screen?
Stand and learn the type of actor that Anthony Mackie actually is. You know what I'm saying? He's more than just the comic side relief, or you know what I'm saying, the side hero, or he's more than what he was as the lead and She Hate Me. You know, he really has a body of work that allows him to be able to be in any situation, you know what I'm saying, up against any polarizing figure. I mean, for the short time that he was in 8 Mile, you might say he was across from one of the most polarizing figures, you know what I'm saying, in pop culture, with Eminem playing opposite of him. You know, had big roles. He's done this before, and I think that people will actually start to. Then this is the fandom. This isn't like people in MCU, that the fandom will actually start to accept him as Captain America after seeing him in this role opposite Harrison Ford, and that's why I think you cast somebody like Harrison Ford to add
Mm.
legitimacy of this person that you just picked to play Captain America that some people are still iffy about. And that's what I think you'll get. Along with, you know what I'm saying, adding legitimacy to the Thunderbolts and everything like that by showing you these are the type of actors that we're putting in place to play these iconic characters. Because to be honest with you, when you look at the Thunderbolts roster, who is really there that, you know what I'm saying, for you to grab onto, bite onto, that's actually selling, you know what I'm saying, that movie. You put Harrison
Good
Ford
point.
in that role and he sells that movie no matter, and this isn't knocking the rest of the cast, but everybody in that cast was a side character. No matter how much we like them, because we love them in the roles that they played in, we believe that they did excellent jobs. You know what I'm saying? And especially old girl plays Yelena. Everything she's been in, she's been good in. We have an excellent cast, but who sells that ticket? Who
Right.
gets butts out of seats to make them go see that movie? And I believe that's why Harrison Ford was put into that position, because the guy who used to play him, you know what I'm saying, rest in heaven, no disrespect, I don't think he sells a movie the way that Harrison Ford sells a movie.
Do you think had he not passed, do you think they would have recast anyway or no?
I think they would have. I think
You
it would
think
have been.
so?
I think it would have been a sense of, we have a multiverse now. We can replace this role. We have a role for him somewhere in the multiverse, but let's keep him over here. Let's recast this to put, you know what I'm saying, awareness on what's going on, because now it's Harrison Ford versus Captain America. they don't even look
Go
at it
Indiana
as,
Jones against
yeah.
Captain, right?
Just think about promoting Indiana Jones 5. At the same time, you're promoting Captain America. You're promoting the Thunderbolts. You know what I'm saying? You're getting more. You know what I'm saying, for your money when it comes to Harrison Ford. So and again, letting people see that it's Harrison Ford standing against Anthony Mackie. You know what I'm saying? Not Captain America, because right now it's like Harrison Ford is taking on Captain America. That's what the headlines and stuff are saying. Like, no, that's Anthony Mackie playing Captain America. Give that man his, you know what I'm saying, his respect for what he's been doing in MCU for the past 10 years. He's been here for 10 years. This is Harrison Ford's first, you know what I'm saying, go around. Give that man his respect, but it'll do the same thing for the Thunderbolts. You know what I'm saying? Some of these characters in the Thunderbolts have been around for forever, you know? So let's see what happens. And hey, if it's gonna bring more shine to what's going on in the MCU, much better. Let some of these directors and some of these writers shut up about the MCU not being real movies when you have actors like Harrison Ford, Yahya, you know what I'm saying? All these grand level actors who have roles in these movies who did not have to take them. It was more than just a payday for them, because some of them aren't just going to take roles for a payday. They didn't get paid for anywhere. It's the story and the character that they're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they would have recast him, even if he hadn't passed away. But regardless, I do think that Harrison Ford does bring people into seats, and I would agree with you in the sense that now when you look at Thunderbolts, the idea of having Harrison Ford attached to it probably does nothing but really elevate it, and even put more eyes on that particular series. Because again, general audiences probably don't know too much about who's a Thunderbolts team, right? But if you see like Harrison Ford in the Thunderbolts, your ears might perk up and certainly give it a shot more than you probably would have beforehand. But to go back on something that you said, Indy, the idea of bringing in Harrison Ford, maybe to like rub some of his stardom on Anthony Mackie and to kind of like have people accept him a little bit more as Captain America. I do think there's maybe some truth to that, but I would push back and just say, when I looked at Falcon and the Winter Soldier, by the end of that series, well, again, I'm just one person. I fully accepted Anthony Mackie as Captain America, especially like the speech that he winds up giving to everybody towards the end, right? With the paramedics and the officers and the big crowd around. I felt like the speech that he gave was a really great one in the sense of establishing, like, hey, I'm the new Captain America now. And I think the writers did an amazing job in regards to really building the Sam Wilson character through that series to get to that point at the very end. And so I think not only the performance of Anthony Mackie, but the incredible storytelling that they were able to do, considering where Sam Wilson's character had started off from the Winter Soldier when we first seen him. And like you mentioned, he'd been here for like 10 years, right? Like the journey that this man has been on. I would hope that most fandoms now automatically see him as Captain America, but there's always going to be some convincing, and I think you're right. I think the idea of having Harrison Ford in here and being able to see what that clash is going to be like might end up having more people on Sam Wilson's side as the new Captain America. But I think context, like the content that we're going to get in this movie, is going to be pretty heavy, especially with Isaiah Bradley returning. The Black Captain America is going to be in this also. I would be really fascinated to see how this all fits. But I do think we're going to get some great content out of this Captain America 4 movie, Indy. I really do.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this movie. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what type of experience that Harrison Ford brings, you know what I'm saying, to a cast that's not, I'm not gonna say that they're not weathered actors, like they don't have experience, but they don't have that man's experience.
Yeah, they don't have that man's experience. Absolutely. And it's just interesting. I mean, and we've seen him in, Star Wars properties, Indiana Jones stuff, but we never really seen him in a comic book movie before, have we? In the comic book genre?
Not that I can recall. I mean, I basically feel like Indiana Jones is a big comic book.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say some people might just consider it like, oh, it's just it should be like the same, right?
yeah, Star Wars is more than else basically what a comic, you know what I'm saying, a comic book is like. So
Yeah, you're
we've
right.
seen him in a similar genre, but have we seen him as like this type of antagonist when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, villain, like super powered villain type thing. This is what's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that for this we might be able to keep him safe, because if anything, all the combat will be CGI, and we don't have to worry about a
That's true.
reporter talking about Harrison Ford broke his leg on set.
That's
Like,
just put some dots on Harrison. Please keep this man as safe as possible. He's going to have a hell of a year from 2023 with Indiana Jones into 2024 with Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts. He's going to have a great year run for sure.
I got something better for you. Don't even put the dots on Harrison. Just have Harrison do the voice. Put the dots on Braun Strowman and let him
Ooh.
be the you know what I'm saying, the thing for the Hulk.
Yeah, I dig it, man. I dig that. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out, man. But I believe somebody in the comments, Sarav, what's up, Sarav? He says, I heard Harrison Ford was in the running for Ross after William Hurt's unfortunate demise. Is he confirmed to appear as the same? Yes, he is. Even the producer in this article mentioned that, as we read earlier. So he has been confirmed. Marcelino says, I know a lot of Hulk fans are pissed that General Ross and the leader are in the Captain America film and not a Hulk film. This is actually the reason why they refused to watch Shang-Chi and Thor 3. Why? Like, the idea of nobody wanting to watch Shang-Chi because what, the Abomination pops in there for like 2 minutes is childish. Please get out of here with that bullshit. Thor 3? What was Thor 3? Oh, Ragnarok because Hulk was in it. There's reasons in comic book lore for them to even interact or Hulk to even be in there in the first place. So I'm perfectly okay with that. I mean, I guess the idea of maybe Thor Ragnarok not being like a Hulk film, maybe, but I just, the complaining, just stop.
You go now, see, they're going about it the wrong way, because this isn't a issue with Marvel. This is a universal
Our
issue, and they're
Universal
not
Pictures
wanting to let
issues.
the
Yes.
rights go of the Hulk.
Yeah.
So what you should do is go support the movie, so that either Universal sells the rights or does like a Sony deal, like Sony does with Spider-Man, in order to partner with Disney and Marvel in order to make a Hulk movie.
Yeah, I get you. I know, look, I get the idea that some fans are certainly upset, but when we're getting to the point of like refusing to watch Shang-Chi and 3, please, guys. Anyway. And again, I know that's not you, Marcelino. You're talking about Hulk fans in general. So yeah, if there are some people out there that feel that way, come on, guys. Show some support. Show some support for these movies. Yeah, because I do think, right, Indy, I think if you show support for movies, especially that these Hulk characters are in, that's got to send signals to somebody out there, right? That, man, they really want themselves a Hulk film.
This is Universal. The only thing they're worried about right now is monsters, and they can't even get that right.
They can't even get that right. Oh my goodness. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Are you excited to see Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford opposite of each other on screen and getting ready to go ahead and clash? What could they possibly be arguing about? What is certainly going on here? Is he still pissed off about the Sokovia Accords? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right. And from that MCU storyline on to the next. It looks as though the WandaVision spinoffs continue, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ourselves the Agatha Coven Coven of Chaos Disney Plus series certainly approaching here, I believe, in phase 5, if I'm not mistaken. Good old Catherine Hahn certainly set to go ahead and reprise her role as Agatha. And while we haven't necessarily had too many announcements in regards to that, this week's announcement in regards to casting definitely caught my attention because I'm such a huge fan of this actress, as it seems as though we're just bringing more people into the MCU here. Indy is good old Aubrey Plaza is set to go ahead and join the MCU. This comes to us from Variety.com. An incredibly talented actress. I love her comedy chops in here. Just the way that she holds herself, honestly, and her personality that she usually brings to the screen is usually pretty hilarious to me, if you ask me. But Variety.com is saying WandaVision spinoff Agatha Coven of Chaos casts Aubrey Plaza. She is joining Catherine Hahn in the upcoming series itself. spinoff. It is a spinoff of the Marvel show WandaVision, with Han set to reprise the role of Agatha Harkness. Exact plot details, including the character Plaza would play in the show, are being kept under wraps. It seems as though Emma Caulfield Ford is also set to reprise the role of Dottie from WandaVision in the new series also. So Dottie certainly returns. I didn't even know that. It says, while Variety exclusively reported that the Heartstopper star Joe Locke will also star in Coven of Chaos. As has been the case in the past, Marvel did not comment on this particular information. The role marks a reunion of sorts for Plaza and Han, as both previously appeared in the sitcom Parks and Rec. Although I believe Aubrey Plaza had more of the regular role in there. I don't remember Catherine Hahn popping up in there. It says in roughly a dozen episodes. So she definitely didn't have as big of a role as Aubrey Plaza, but I certainly loved Aubrey Plaza in that as well. Indy, I'll go ahead and throw this over to you here first. What's your relationship like with Aubrey Plaza? How have you liked some of her work here? And what do you think of her fit for the WandaVision spinoff for Agatha?
Aubrey Plaza is perfection personified, and anything she does is right. So like, yeah, she does absolutely nothing wrong. She's the totally opposite of Iris in the Flash series for
Oh
me
no.
when it comes to Aubrey Plaza. No, Aubrey Plaza is amazing. Whether it's comedy, something with a more serious tone. She was in. She had a starring role in what was probably the best Marvel S TV show. You know what I'm saying, with Legion. So
Oh, she was in that?
she was in Legion.
Oh crap. I don't forgot about that.
So yeah, she was like the co-star in Legion. She was one of the voices that was always, you know what I'm saying, talking to him, like, you know what I'm saying, through the thing that would always appear to him. Um, she's good. She's good in everything she's in, man. Like I don't know how to say any wrong. She is probably the only woman that I would sell my child for. Um, but I love Aubrey Plaza. I love the fact she could be in here with Catherine Hahn. You know what I'm saying? Both their comedy chops, but the way they both act. This just, people don't realize how interesting this just made this Disney Plus series. Like it's she has I want to say, I don't want to say like what's it called? Uh she has fans that will make this show the biggest show ever on Disney Plus. Like it's bad, but I have no idea what character she's gonna play. The people would totally first lean to that she's gonna be like another witch or a sorceress or something like that. But I would love her to be like a reporter or something that's watching all this crazy stuff happen around her and her having to react and try to figure out what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Type deal. That's what I like. That's what I like her to know. But we all know where the Scarlet Witch left. You know what I'm saying? Catherine Hahn. She was sitting. Agatha was sitting there, stuck in a perpetual, basically dream world where, you know what I'm saying, she thought she was this character she's gonna play. So it's gonna be interesting to see where this series picks up. And perfect casting in my mind.
Yeah, I think it's perfect casting also. I am one of those people that automatically think, hey, she's gonna be a witch. But even if she is just a witch, I'm perfectly okay with that, because I do think that she would be an amazing witch, especially playing opposite of somebody like Catherine Hahn. And I think that's really what really has intrigued me about this casting choice here, is the fact that I really do think that Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn together on screen could be like just comedy and TV gold. Indy, I'm really excited to see them work opposite and work off of one another at the end of the day. And so, I still don't know what the Agatha series is going to find itself to turn out to be. But I'm just amazed that WandaVision has created as many spin-offs as it has, or that we're continuing really to follow a lot of these characters. I mean, we followed Scarlet Witch into Doctor Strange. We're getting to follow the Vision into his Vision Quest series, and now we're getting an opportunity to go ahead and tackle Agatha in her own series, one that I still to this day don't necessarily know if I want or necessarily need, but the idea of having Aubrey Plaza now officially attached to it definitely does make me a little bit more interested in what this might turn out to be. I mean, look, Catherine Hahn brings her comedy chops, so I definitely expect it to be somewhat lighthearted, but maybe dark all at the same time, just because of the material that they might be exploring in here. I did like your suggestion, Indy, of her maybe being a possible reporter. I don't necessarily know the people that surround Agatha in the comic books or who she might even be close to or some of her supporting characters that she's encountered with. But even if Aubrey Plaza is just a witch or part of this bigger coven that they're talking about here, then the Coven of Chaos, I think this is amazing casting, and I hope that she continues to have a significant role in the MCU. This might be a one-off for her. I don't know if we'll see her again after this particular spinoff, but this casting alone has caught my eyes for sure.
I'm gonna tell you who I want her to play. If it has to be somebody that involves magic and stuff, I feel like the perfect role for her in this series, Morgan Le Fay.
Ooh, I would think that would be incredible. I really, oh man, I didn't even think about that. That would certainly open up the doors for a lot of other things too, wouldn't it? Like a Captain Britain type of thing if they wanted
Mhm.
to at some point in time,
The
because
the
he's
whole
from, yeah, go ahead.
whole relationship with Doctor Strange, you know what I'm saying? The Agamotto,
Morgan Le
like
Fay.
all that going on, because I similar to Harrison Ford, even though a lot of people don't look at Aubrey Plaza as this, I feel like her status, you know what I'm saying, is a little bit higher than just playing like one of Agatha's kids. Or you know what I'm saying, or like Victoria Montesi, you know what I'm saying, just somebody who might be connected to the Darkhold. I feel like with her acting chops, the way she does, and with her fandom, Morgan Le Fay would be the perfect, you know what I'm saying, style of character for her. And she's
Man.
proven, like I said, in shows like Legion and different stuff like that, that she can pull a character like that off.
Man, I love that. I really hope that's the character that it winds up. Remember, you heard it here first, guys. If she gets cast as Morgan Le Fay, I think that's a great casting choice for that character. I feel like that's something they can easily introduce us to with this Agatha show for sure. So yeah, man, let's keep our fingers crossed. I hope that's who she opens up to play. Because isn't she because I do believe that she's in um isn't she like in an I don't want to say another world, but like another dimension, Morgan Le Fay?
Yeah, and like the Agamotto, like once, I think it once like chose her as the strangest replacement for like the Sorcerer Supreme. And
Interesting.
like she's got a history in dark magic, elven magic and more. And she's just like one of the oldest villains, you know what I'm saying, in Marvel lore. So whether you want to come and have her as like an anti-hero, like they seem to be doing with every single villain that they bring out, or if you want her to be another magic or earth-based threat to distract you from what's going on with Kang and everything else, you know what I'm saying? It works.
Yeah, because she's even has like established lore with like King Arthur and stuff. And I think that's where
Mhm.
like the Excalibur sword comes from, opening up the doors for a possible Great Britain. You hear that, Henry Cavill? Hope you're paying attention.
Yeah.
But this could be the opening of the door for that aspect of the MCU. So yeah, man. Aubrey Plaza, whoever you're gonna play, I'm really hoping it's Morgan Le Fay now, but whoever she's gonna play, perfect fit to join the MCU.
I mean, there's some stuff going on with Dane Whitman too with that.
Damn,
We
that's
keep we
right.
keep forgetting about we forget about them because that movie was so trash. But
They are like just putting like little building blocks together and slowly introducing like a whole different section of the MCU that they haven't even really tapped into, but they're definitely putting like their chess pieces in place. It feels like that's crazy to me. So yeah, we'll see if that's what gets further established here out of the Agatha series. So a lot to definitely digest when it comes to the MCU. But let us know your thoughts, guys. Aubrey Plaza. It's funny too. You mentioned that her fan base. I've got a friend, Maggie, who absolutely loves Aubrey Plaza and everything that she does. It almost feels like there's sometimes like it feels like Maggie's personality traits are like that from of Aubrey Plaza. But I know how powerful her fan base is, and it'll be interesting to go ahead and get them included into the MCU too, if they certainly aren't already. But if you're a big fan of Aubrey Plaza, how do you love this casting? Definitely let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And Indy, with that out of the way, we will wrap up all of our MCU stuff and move on to DC. That's right. We're going to get into the Warner Brothers Discovery bag here for you guys. I feel like over the past couple of weeks, ever since Black Adam started releasing and official information that good old Henry Cavill is certainly returning as Superman, I feel like you can't go anywhere on the internet, Indy, without hearing more Henry Cavill and Superman information, continuing to try and get insights. How did this certainly all come together under the fans' noses, sort of thing? What can we certainly expect going forward? So this particular week, especially now that we've got new management over at Warner Brothers, we got the David Zaslav as the CEO. He's now hired on James Gunn and Peter Safran to be co-CEOs of DC Studios, certainly going forward, as James Gunn will be helming sort of the creative side of things. And now this announcement too that Henry Cavill is returning as Superman. If you're a DC fan, the past couple of weeks have been incredible for you. But this past week, we got Henry Cavill discussing the idea of possibly working with James Gunn and really heaping some high praise on him, not only from Henry Cavill, but David Zaslav is talking highly about James Gunn here as well. So let's go ahead and get into this, Indy, as this comes to us from good old IGN. Has an article for us today saying Henry Cavill on James Gunn's DC Studios move. I cannot wait to have long conversations with him. Let's put these two nerds in a room, lock them together, and see what they create, Indy. Because I believe this week, if I'm not mistaken, I think James Gunn might have even hinted, Indy, that he could be doing a Superman movie. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but he did hint at it. I'll see if I can find the tweet for you guys, and you guys let me know what you think. But let's go ahead and get into this article. It says, but for Henry Cavill, at least, who is currently enjoying a bit of the moment in the DCEU himself, Gunn apparently remains a bit of an unknown quantity. It says, on hand to promote Enola Holmes 2, which releases on Netflix this week, Cavill reacted to the news that Gunn would be taking over DC Studios. He says, I have not met James yet, is what he admitted when he interviewed with IGN. I'm looking very forward to meeting him. He's clearly a very, very talented man, and I cannot wait to sit down and have a long conversations with him. I'm very excited about him being there and very excited about any future opportunities we can work together. It says Gunn's ascension parallels Cavill's own return to the DCEU, and where Cavill has spoken openly about playing a joyful Superman, if you will. Asked to elaborate, Cavill talked about how Superman means so much for so many people, which can in turn relate to his own experience. And this is what he said. He says, what really gets me about Superman is that he represents the best of the human soul, the greatest of the human soul. It's not just his powers, it's his heart. It's his heart that makes him so special. And even when he's going through stuff, he's still giving to others. He's still protecting others. He's the one who will always reach out and always give. And in that is so much wonder and power. And it's such, as I say, a joyful thing that it's not a mournful weight. It is something that is a gift. To be giving is a gift because it makes people feel a certain way, and it also makes them want to be giving in return to other people. There's just something so magnificent about that. And of course, then that's a very broad stroke piece. But once you get into the nitty-gritty details of that, and once you start applying the storytelling into all the wonderful, exciting villains that he may come across, then you have a world adventure and a world where the audience leaves this cinema feeling fantastic. And I really do appreciate the way that he breaks down his perspective, Indy, of Superman here. And I think that's probably maybe what one of some of the pushback that we wind up having for the Man of Steel, in the sense that some people felt maybe it was a little bit too dark, or it didn't necessarily capture the Superman, that Boy Scout Superman that we've kind of all come to know and love. And so while we've known, if we've done some research when it comes to Zack Snyder's storytelling, this was just the first step into getting Superman, the Man of Steel, to the point in which Henry Cavill is now certainly referring to, the journey that Superman has to certainly go on to get to that particular place for himself. And so the next iteration of Superman, I do certainly expect to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more joyful. And it seems as though when it comes to Henry Cavill, he knows exactly what it is that Superman represents. And I think hearing Henry Cavill here again, Indy, is just a way to reiterate for us, this is why he's our Superman. Like, this is why we love him in this role, because he just gets it and he knows exactly what the fans certainly want to see, and he clearly is going to be able to embody that on screen. So I love just hearing his words in regards to the Superman character. As far as him and James Gunn goes, I think he's very interested in that. I mean, maybe him and James Gunn will take off their shirts and put computers together for 2 hours and discuss Superman, for all I know, and a bunch of other nerdy concepts that they can certainly get into. But I do think the fact of them sitting down is great, because now this gives Henry Cavill, if you ask me, a little bit more power himself. I think James Gunn will certainly be very open-minded. I feel like anytime that he's worked with other actors, they've been very fond and very eager to certainly work with him again, because of maybe the levels of independence that they give him or the support that James Gunn gives them. I do think that if Henry Cavill has this mindset about Superman, what he wants to see, I do think that James Gunn will be very open to not only hearing his mindset, but also maybe some ideas that Henry Cavill certainly has for the character, and what they could possibly explore together going forward. Again, doesn't mean that James Gunn will be doing a Superman movie, but as James Gunn being the creative force going forward, I'm hoping that the conversations and the meetings that he has with Henry Cavill will really put Henry Cavill as Superman back at the forefront of the DCEU that has been sorely missing over the past couple of years, Indy. So I definitely expect big things from this conversation. But let me throw this over to you. What are your thoughts in regards to him wanting to have a long conversation with James Gunn, and just his own personal thoughts in regards to what Superman truly means?
We saw this with The Witcher. We saw this in how adamant and how into lore he is, and like the written source material. And I do feel that one of the reasons why he left The Witcher was due to the show straying so much from the source material, the thing that he loved. This is the actors that play the roles that they play. The ones that play the roles the best are the ones that are truly in tune with who the character is, and they love who the character is. One thing that I've always loved about Henry Cavill is the fact that he's a bigger nerd than we are.
Yeah.
And he is truly into these roles and these characters that he plays, whether it's from James Bond to The Witcher, you know what I'm saying, to Superman, to even the Holmes, you know what I'm saying, the Sherlock Holmes lore. He's really gets into who these characters are, breaks them down, and his love for these characters and for this source material show through his perception of what that character is on the screen. I'm all for this. I don't know what a James Gunn Superman would look like. For some reason, a James Gunn Superman to me feels like it looks and feels like Shazam. So I'm hoping that Henry Cavill's idea, we end up with a more fleshed out Man of Steel, you know what I'm saying, type movie. I love that characterization of Superman, of Kal-El, that we saw in Man of Steel. It was something I felt that we had never saw before on screen, live action screen, from that character. I felt like I was watching a live action version of a Superman animated series when I was watching, you know what I'm saying, that film. if they can come through and give us the best aspects of what James Gunn likes to do and how Henry Cavill feels as the character, I feel that the DCEU will finally be on track to what the MCU is.
Yeah, hopefully it eventually will be. I do think that this is, if there's any opportunity for them to kind of play catch up or put themselves on equal footing, this might be a really great opportunity for them to certainly do so. To kind of go back and joke about the idea of like, what would James Gunn um, movie or Superman movie might look like? This is the tease that I was referring to. Oh, Rob says, to be honest, though, having James Gunn as co-chair for the newly minted DC Studios is a masterstroke. Now Gunn can really make the sorts of films he wants to. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. They're putting him in prime position to go ahead and certainly do that. Here's the tease I was talking about. James Gunn posted this. He said, first day on the job. And it's good old Clark Kent at the Daily Planet going ahead and putting the story together. Got to restrain myself, or I may absentmindedly punch this typewriter into twisted wreckage. So yeah, first day on the job, and he's already teasing either the return of Superman or maybe him tackling a Superman movie. And look, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for James Gunn to do a Superman movie. I'm not expecting him to, but I do remember when James Gunn got brought on board, I believe he said that they offered him like any movie that he wanted to do, like any movie. And I think even Superman was on that list, but he decided to go ahead the way of the Suicide Squad. So I think the fact that James Gunn didn't tackle a Superman movie at least tells to me or shows me he may not want to tackle a Superman movie still. But I do think, if anything, you've got James Gunn and Peter Safran in position to find those that definitely want to do a Man of Steel to perfection, if you will. And I do believe that they are currently looking for writers for Man of Steel 2 as well. So they're moving full steam ahead in regards to this indie. So I'm so pumped that we're getting us some new information about Superman here.
Yeah, for James Gunn, to be totally honest with you, I feel like after Suicide Squad, the perfect movie for him is an Oliver Queen movie. Not necessarily like a Green Arrow, but like Oliver, you know what I'm saying, rebranded Oliver Queen. We know Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow, but you know what I'm saying, like that type of deal. Like skip past the whole. I get tired of having to do the stories of how they became who they are. Like skip it. Get into the meat and potatoes and show us who Oliver Queen is. And I think that's something that he would exceed expectations at far and forefront.
That would be interesting. James Gunn led Arrow film or Green Arrow film. That would be pretty interesting to see. But yeah, big things are certainly coming our way, guys. Henry Cavill is certainly back, and we definitely could not be happier. Speaking about James Gunn, though, the good old CEO David Zaslav even had some high praise to heap on him also. It says, talking during an earnings call yesterday evening, he assured investors that the DCU now has a bright future thanks to the two men tasked with overhauling it. He says, I've spent a lot of time over the past few months with James and Peter talking about our strategy and long-term plans for the future of the DC across TV, animation, and film. They have a powerful vision and blueprint that will drive a more unified, creative approach that will allow us to enable to the full value of one of the world's most iconic franchises. That's like music to my ears, Indy, hearing that. A powerful vision and a blueprint that will drive unified creative approach. Yeah, you got to get everybody on the same page. He says they are at hard work right now. He says James is a brilliant storyteller who has the distinction of being the first and only filmmaker to direct a movie for both Marvel and DC. And speaking about Peter Safran, he says he's a prolific producer whose credits include the highest grossing DC movie, Aquaman, as well as the entire Conjuring universe, the most successful horror franchise of all time. We could not be more thrilled to have them join our leadership team, and I'm excited for what is to come. And I think think we've pointed it out. Me and Stuart have pointed this out before. You look at Peter Safran, Indy, and what he's done with the Conjuring universe. And despite, some people may not like the spinoffs, but the fact that they have so many spinoffs of the Conjuring universe, they're now about to get into their fourth Conjuring movie as well. You don't create that type of that amount of content if what you're not creating isn't successful in some way, shape, or form financially for the company itself. And so for Peter Safran to have to be able to have the wits about him to be able to create these gigantic universes and now team him up with a great creative mind like James Gunn, it feels like a match in heaven here. And the fact that David Zaslav is talking so highly about both of them and being on a more unified creative approach, that's got to give you some sense of comfort, especially with how crazy things have been for DC over the past couple years. Would you agree, or what are your thoughts in regards to that?
I agree with you 110%. And for people who don't like the Conjuring spinoffs, doesn't really matter what you like. There's a lot of people who don't like the Fast and Furious franchise. They make money.
Yeah,
And that's what DC needs to do right now, is make money. And one of the things in that sentence that popped out to me that kind of like made me go, huh? That he was in charge of the highest grossing DCEU film in Aquaman. That still makes me go, huh? Aquaman?
Just Aquaman, right?
Yeah, like the dude that talks to fish. Like that's why Jason Momoa is in everything. That's why he's the new Rock. Is because of the money that Aquaman made. They took the least interesting character, similar to what the MCU do with Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? The person who comics wasn't selling and stuff like that, and turned it into one of the highest grossing movies. You know what I'm saying, that they have as a franchise in DC. If he can do that with that, if he can revitalize horror, because we all saw what type of horror movies, and they were all just scare fest type of stuff. He actually put story and real horror back into movies. You know what I'm saying? Pulling at your strings, like making you be scared to cut the light off at night. Anything could happen with the Conjuring series, because we were on the verge of nothing but purges. And what was the little thing with the doll that rode around on a tricycle? Saw. That's like all we were getting. You know what I'm saying? So like if he can do that with Aquaman and the Conjuring franchise, it's something that I trust him a little bit in what's going on, at least to turn a profit from what's going on with these movies. One of the reasons why, like Sarav said, how do you feel about them putting HBO Max on the back burner right now? I feel like HBO Max wasn't the issue. I feel like HBO Max is going to sell itself. It's going to be profitable just from the shows and stuff that you're putting on there. That I feel like whoever was the dude who was ahead of this to start off with was focusing on too many things at once, when it's the movies you need to get running, and that filters down to everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like a waterfall.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, man. It does blow my mind about the idea of Aquaman still being the highest grossing that they certainly have also. But yeah, I do think David Zaslav has put us in a really great position. When you speak of Peter Safran as a producer, again, it's also the idea of him. While he's not writing these films himself, he's putting the right people in charge of these movies. He's bringing on the right people to work these particular films to create. And I think when you've got a producer like that can pinpoint directors, writers, casts, and crew and things like that to work together and put together an amazing combination, and in turn make a great film, that level of keen eye on talent is certainly really important. So I do think that they've got themselves a great duo here. And I don't necessarily know if they're putting the HBO Max sort of on the back burner. Like they definitely will continue to focus on things, but I do think it's just a trajectory course change, in the sense of, we're not going to be putting a lot of low budget movies back on here, sort of thing. And maybe, whether or not, he says apparently to them, that the game plan of doing that unfortunately failed them. Maybe it failed them in a sense of making the most bang for your buck, and kind of changing course by putting some of those movies that were supposed to go to HBO Max either taking them down or course correcting and allowing them to be now theatrical releases. I think it's just a different mindset approaching
Yo, what's
HBO
up?
Max, but I don't expect HBO Max to I don't expect HBO Max to drop off in any sense of the imagination whatsoever. So I do think that they've got something really great on their hands here. So we'll have to see how it all turns out. But despite us honestly losing a lot of content, I think it really hurt the soul for a lot of us as fans who really wanted to see some of these shows come to fruition. When you've got mergers that come in and can be messy, people losing their jobs, cutting movies and cutting television shows we were all really looking forward to, it hurts as fans, right? But now that you've got them finally putting people in place, coming up with fresh ideas, planning and future forward thinking, some of the things that we're starting to heal seems pretty like more and more appealing each time I hear these guys talk. So maybe this is a course correction that will certainly benefit the DCU going forward. And like you mentioned before, maybe put them on a more even playing field now, Indy, than they certainly were before. But let us know your thoughts in regards to all the Henry Cavill and James Gunn talk. What's got you excited? What's got you hesitant? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Let's see here. There was something else. Marcelino did say, saw Black Adam last night. It was a CGI slugfest. Annoying kid, lackluster villain, action over substance, etc. You're better off watching iCarly and the Dragon Prince. Maybe the Dragon Prince. I don't know about iCarly though. But look, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. Like when you tell me The Rock is playing Black Adam, I I don't know about you, Indy. I'm not really expecting substance so much as I am just balls to the wall action and heavy CG. But honestly, even going into the movie with that mindset, I thought they handled it relatively well. Like the kid wasn't as annoying to me as I feel like it was to most people. I enjoyed the brief moments that we got to share with some of the teammates. I think the JSA truly shined. Anytime, like Dr. Fate was incredible in here. I love seeing the two young newcomers working alongside with each other, especially Adam Smasher and sort of the squabbles that he has with Hawkman throughout the movie certainly made me laugh a little bit. While I would agree it's not necessarily heavy and dense storytelling, even the execution of the Black Adam origin and how it's like, here's the story that's told to you, and then you find out the truth about it, and then an additional truth. It almost felt like there was kind of twists within the origin story for Black Adam, and that really kind of intrigued me. I found it fun. So again, it's not something I'm writing home about, but I honestly felt the critics might have been a little bit too harsh on this film than what they were, because I do think that there's some enjoyment in here for sure. The Jericho Appreciation Society, yeah, you could certainly say that, Datilla. But what did you think about Black Adam? I mean, do you agree with Marcelino here, or what are your views?
No, I don't full heartedly agree with Marcelino, but I don't come as a viewer. I'm not going to for the same effect that Marcelino goes. I'm going to see this movie, right? When I
Because
think
honestly, his complaints are the ones that I hear from people that weren't necessarily big fans of the movie. So there are aspects that I can understand. I wasn't the biggest I thought the villain was lackluster also. So I do think that there is some things warranted in it, but I don't necessarily know if it's as harsh as
I don't
some people were saying.
again, I think when it comes to stories and especially in comic book movies, even if you go back to Justice League, you know what I'm saying? We're a little spoiled with how mature they're trying to make the characters and how much story and character focus they're trying to make them. You know what I'm saying? Like the humanization of Superman, the demonization of, you know what I'm saying, Batman, and you know what I'm saying, like different things they're trying to do. When it came to Black Adam, him being one of my favorite DC characters, especially villain wise, I just knew crap was finna hit the fan because that's the type of character he is. It's all about uh I fist before, you know what I'm saying, words. He's gonna fight first, talk later. You know what I'm saying, type mentality. That's why I felt like The Rock was one of the perfect castings for the character because he could portray the brutality you know what I'm saying, that Black Adam had, but still humanize the character enough that you could like the character.
Hmm.
Um, when it comes to the story, I really feel like when it came to the story goes on, not having Black Adam introduced in a Shazam, you know what I'm saying, movie, and have him facing Captain Marvel was one of the things that I felt lacked as far as in was storytelling and what it meant about. I feel like Black Adam could have been a bigger character, whether it was somebody coming to him and asking him for his support, his country's support against something or something like that. It should have been something introduced. He should have been introduced prior to what this movie was. You know what I'm saying? And then we get the backstory on what happens. That's what I feel like was left out. And I feel like it was possibly supposed to be something like that. But with the DCU being such disarray, we didn't get that. Because think about how long this movie's been in development. This was when The Rock still had hair.
Well, I think The Rock recently came out and mentioned in either Forbes or one really dense article where they interviewed him, and I think he mentioned the idea that the Black Adam or the Shazam script, one of them, when it was first initially written, they were supposed to be included together in one film. And as The Rock went through the script and read it, he said he pointed out the fact that he felt like it was maybe too much, that they would work better as individual movies. And I think that's where we get the formation of the Shazam film and Black Adam on their own basis because of that. So you're right. It feels like what you were just talking about was the initial pitch. And then it had a little bit of a course correction. So I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the movie. I went to the movie to see, you know what I'm saying, Black Adam punch some stuff, and people have to deal with his IDC attitude. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
that I don't care
that
attitude.
rage, right? That rage.
Yeah,
We
that
talked
people
about
have to
that
deal with
heavily.
that and how they were going to deal with that. To me, Black Adam at times, especially how he written, is to me feels like when the Hulk rages, and
Yeah.
people have to come together to stop him. He's not necessarily a
Talk some sense
villain.
into him. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to stop him from doing what he's doing and help him recognize what's really going on. And that's how I feel. I feel like the movie was more of a struggle between his perception on what was happening and what the world saw and what the world doing what was happening. And that's what a story was based, you know what I'm saying, in the thing. It was kind of like House of Dragon with you see how I relate all the stuff together. It's kind of like the House of Dragon and how the Dance of Dragons all starts over a misunderstanding, you know what I'm saying, type thing. Is trying to make somebody realize that this is a misunderstanding and this is why this is happening.
And I think
But
that's okay.
that's what a story is for me. But I think people don't look, you know what I'm saying, into that. They're looking directly at what they're being shown rather than the story that's being told within, you know what I'm saying, the story.
Well, and that's one of the things I enjoyed about the Black Adam movie was that it definitely was a story misunderstanding, right? Because you come to find out that the idea of them praising this guy is not the same guy. You know what I'm saying? Like you realize that the story isn't about necessarily the Rock's Black Adam, but like the reason why he has all this rage is because of the fact of his son technically being the first Black Adam, right? And we go along this whole entire movie and journey thinking that the Rock's Black Adam, this is the guy that people have been praising for all these years, for the independence that he winds up bringing this and the freedom that he brings the country. So the way that the story is told in here and the origin of, you know, the twists to the story as it progresses, you continue to understand the rage and why he has the rage that he certainly is. And they do it in such a great way of really twisting the story around and an amazing sort of reveal throughout. And so for me, again, while simple in certain aspects, I thought it went a pretty good way in regards to how it wind up playing itself out. So I honestly didn't mind it as much as other people did, though. But yeah,
I enjoyed it more than what I thought I was going to. But like I said, I
I get
went in
you.
there for one thing and I got a little bit more. When you sit with it and start to think about what really happened, you end up enjoying the movie a little bit more than when you experience it for the first time. I'm pretty sure that my next watch is going to be better than my first watch.
And the reason why we talk very much Black Adam is because of the fact that it does come full circle and does wrap up to the idea of Henry Cavill showing up in earnest would have been quite a buzz, as he certainly did towards the end of that particular film. And it was incredible, great moment to certainly say the least. So Henry Cavill is back, ladies and gentlemen, as Superman. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. All right, guys. And with that wrapped up, we will move on to our next topic for you guys. Our last topic when it comes to at least the world of DC. And Indy, some terrible news here, man, for followers of the CW's Stargirl. There's a part, this part of me that was kind of hoping I would also have Stuart on board with this, since he is doing reviews for Stargirl season 3 for our channel, and he's been the big Stargirl fan over the past 3 years. But times are definitely changing over at the CW, ladies and gentlemen, as things continue. I almost don't necessarily view this decision as on David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery and chopping this down. This feels very much like a course correction for the CW, maybe in regards to the content that they certainly want to showcase, maybe the mindset in regards to what they want to certainly present. I mean, don't get me wrong, David Zaslav definitely has to make the decisions here at the end of the day. So I am kind of hoping that there is hope that the Stargirl show will in fact continue on. But when it comes to the ever-changing CW, ladies and gentlemen, season 3, the current season of Stargirl that's currently airing, will be its last, unfortunately. So sad news for the entire crew. I've loved Breck Basinger in this particular role. I think she's done an amazing job as Courtney. If there's anybody that's been able to bring not only, I believe it's like, was it the sister of Jeff Johns? Is that correct? I believe that's who Courtney's supposed to be representing. If there's anybody that can bring that character and persona to life, it definitely was Breck Basinger. I think she's done an amazing job. I haven't had the opportunity to meet her face to face, but I have seen her at a convention, and her Q&A panel was definitely quite enjoyable. But it seems as though DC Stargirl will end after season 3. So let's go ahead and dive into this real quick, Indy, and see if they explain why. It says DC Stargirl is coming to an end. The series will conclude with its 3rd season, which is currently airing on the CW. New episodes will continue to air on Wednesdays through December 7th. It says the cancellation of DC Stargirl comes less than a month after Nexstar Media Group completed its acquisition of the CW network and is the latest series to come to an end. It joins the likes of series such as The Flash ending, Riverdale, Nancy Drew, which are also finishing. Deadline understands the team behind Stargirl, like Nancy Drew, was given an early indication that it might where'd it go? Oh, that this might be the final season and to write an ending that would reflect that. The decision is thought to have been made by Nexstar executives. So if you want to know where to put the blame, put that on Nexstar. It says DC Stargirl follows Courtney and her stepfather, Pat Dugan, as she leads an unlikely group of young heroes to take on the legacy of DC's very first superhero team, the Justice Society of America. Jeff John says, Stargirl has always held a special place in my heart for many reasons. With all the brewing changes at the network, we were aware that this was possibly the last season. So we wrote that in mind and have delivered what I believe to be the best season of Stargirl yet, with complete creative closure. I love those words, Stuart. I mean, Indy, complete creative closure. That the 3 C's. The cast and crew are extraordinary, and I like to thank them for helping me bring the series to life. Breck embodied Courtney in every way possible with grace, strength, and humor, exceeding my wildest expectations. I am grateful to Warner Brothers and CW for giving us the home to tell this story and to honor my beloved late sister. And I'm beyond thankful to the press and fans who have always championed us for 3 amazing seasons. You know, I got to admit, man, even though I haven't necessarily followed Stargirl Stargirl in quite some time. I am bummed to certainly see it go. Breck Basinger also says, getting to play Stargirl and be a part of the DC universe has been the greatest honor, and I'm so grateful for every moment of it. And then she winds up thanking everybody on the set and crew as well. So it says the move is not a huge surprise after executives at Nexstar clearly signaled that it is focusing on retooling the CW, shifting towards unscripted content and shows that appeal to an older audience. So yeah, I'm not expecting this indie to be picked up by anybody else. Anytime that they say, oh, it's being shopped around, I usually hold my breath. I try not to get my expectations up too high. Do you expect this to be shopped around and picked up, or do you think this is the end of it? And just let me know your thoughts on the end of Stargirl as a whole.
This is crazy because this was my off-season watch. Like, this is what I watched off-season. I binged it. Always look forward to binging it and then talking with Stuart, you know what I'm saying, afterwards about, you know what I'm saying, what I thought of it. So I hate for that. I don't feel like the fan base is enough for it to be shopped around and picked up. The perfect home for it, other than the CW, looks like HBO Max, but I don't think HBO Max is gearing to having, like, doing this type of content. When's the last update we had on the Green Lantern? You know what I'm saying? Stuff that we're supposed to have and everything like that. I really feel like there's a retooling going around, and I don't think we're going to have too much superhero content. When it comes to the CW, the performance shows now are like All American Homecoming. You know what I'm saying? Different stuff like that. That deals with more of real life basis than, you know what I'm saying, superheroes running around beating people up in costumes. I think Disney is what's taking the rounds. Disney, Hulu, Amazon are taking the rounds for that. Maybe Amazon. Amazon's the I feel like the other perfect place for a show like this, like Amazon Prime Video. But I don't see it coming up. I'm sad to see this go. The only thing I'm happy about is that finally a show that I don't review got canceled. So I'm happy about that. But
You don't feel like bad luck anymore?
I don't feel like bad luck anymore. I feel like I'm doing good. I mean, Heroes got renewed for season 2. I mean, not Heroes. Heels got renewed for season 2. Bleach came back. You know, like I feel like it's turning for me, and maybe it's turning a little sour for Stewart. So I'm sorry I had to pass that curse along to you, sir. But you got plenty of other stuff you cover. So.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a ton of content out there for sure. But yeah, man, I am bummed about this. Again, while I haven't necessarily caught up to seasons 2 and 3 of Stargirl as of yet, I was really hoping that it would get like a 4 and a 5th season and things like that. Because I just thought the show itself was really well done and really well handled. But Sarav here says, guess CW's time was just over. And it seems the channel seems to be further walking the road of doom as their current owners don't have the best record when it comes to quality content. And it feels very much like Nexstar just finds himself trying to figure out what's the next move here. What's the next stage? I have heard like some of the people behind the scenes of Nexstar saying, yeah, we would like to continue to work with WB. I mean, look, they do plan on having Gotham Knights series. I think we're going to get a season of that. Wouldn't surprise me if we just get a one season, one and done of that, but we'll see how that turns out. Apparently, according to David Ramsey, they're still contemplating the Justice U series. I'm still kind of hesitant on that, if that's actually going to see the light of day. I believe they're still working on the script, so I'm definitely not holding my breath. So the CW certainly seems to be turning into something else entirely. And with that, unfortunately, these DC shows are certainly no more. Sarab also says that said, so Stargirl should continue on HBO Max. I don't necessarily know if it will continue on HBO Max. I do think if there is a home for it, that's probably the best place for it to certainly go. But into your suggestion of Amazon didn't seem too bad either. That's definitely always an option. But I think that what jumps out to me, Stuart, I mean, Indy, God damn it. I'm so used to having Stuart on this damn show. The fact that for me, Indy, that they at least gave them a heads up, I think is super important. Like, I hate watching a series knowing that's going to be canceled and just get stuck on a cliffhanger, knowing that they can't change course, or give us that proper wrap up that we deserve. Thank you, Dino Knights. I appreciate that. So for me, the idea that they were forward thinking enough to let them know, hey, this is probably going to be your last season, guys. So however you write the script, make sure you kind of put some closure on it. That's as disappointing as it is to have a show end. I always want a show to end with closure. And if you can go ahead and close the show properly and leave me with a great sense of feeling for these characters and stuff, that's the only thing that I can really ask for. So I do appreciate them at least giving them that heads up. But still going to hurt to go ahead and see this show have to say farewell. And we'll see where we find Breck Basinger next. But I do think she has a bright career ahead of her.
Maybe in the MCU. I mean, she can dye her hair red and go as a character named Rogue.
I mean, that's always I think she's too small for Rogue. I think she's too tiny. Like height wise, I think she's too tiny for Rogue.
I think she'd be all right.
We'll see. If you guys have any ideas who you would like to see Breck Basinger play next in Marvel or even the DCU, let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And what do you guys think of the cancellation of Stargirl? Let us know your thoughts in regards to how you've connected with the series so far. All right, guys, and with that out of the way, we got one last topic that we're going to dive into before we get to your guys' live viewer questions. We're going to change course here a little bit, go more movie side of things, as new information is in fact emerging for Disney's upcoming live action adaptation of Hercules. Now, maybe some of you guys just rolled your eyes just now in regards to another live action adaptation for Disney. Yes, another one is certainly headed our way. Some of them I've actually been very much enjoying. Some of them I'm still really looking forward to, like The Little Mermaid as well. I will admit, when they announced the idea of Hercules, I really gushed about the idea of what they could potentially do with this movie, just based off of the animated film alone. I think there's a lot of scope, a lot of lore, a lot of fun that could really be had with this Hercules live action adaptation. And while some people are kind of tired of them, I was very much kind of open-minded and really looking forward to this. But Indy, if I could be frank, I'm a little nervous now, my guy. I'm a little nervous about this movie here this week, and I'll explain to you guys why. Let's go ahead and dive into this brand new article here. We find this from Variety.com, saying that Disney's live action Hercules will be more experimental and inspired by TikTok. Huh? What are you guys talking about? Let's see this. It says okay, so they do talk about don't expect to make another Marvel movie anytime soon. So they start off the article talking about Joe Russo saying we won't be ready to do anything with Marvel until the end of the decade. So he's talking like 8 years out. So the idea of the Russo brothers returning for anything Marvel related, let's just go ahead and get that out of the way now. It says the Russos, however, have already returned to Marvel's parent company, Disney. They're producing a live action adaptation of the 1997 animated features Hercules with Guy Ritchie, who also did the Aladdin movie, who was set to direct, made Aladdin a $1 billion movie also. He says, we have an amazing relationship with them that we've built over a decade, is what Joe Russo says. I think we have a point of view on how they can stretch the limits of their IP moving forward rather than plain IP management. He says, whereas many of the Disney recent live action remakes have been faulted for sticking too closely to the source material, Joe Russo says Hercules will be a little bit of a more experimental in tone, a little bit more experimental in execution. I think they're excited to see what we can all bring to it in a way that isn't just an interpretation of the animated film, is what he says. And giving Guy Ritchie some praise, he says Guy Ritchie is perfect for it because he has penchant for experimentation, is what Joe Russo says here. Indy, there's more to this that I definitely want to go into, but anytime you say you're experimenting with something, I'm like, I just don't know, bro. Like for me, the animated movie was done so well. And yes, I don't expect them to rip the animation directly from the movie and make it exactly the same version from live action. I mean, look, you look at Aladdin, Aladdin took some liberties. I expect Hercules to take some liberties as well. But this almost feels like it's really going to depart the movie. It makes me wonder, is this even going to be the same movie now? Maybe some of the same premises and concepts and stuff, but when they say experiment, especially in tone and in execution, um, does that mean it's not going to be as light-hearted as maybe the animated movie certainly was? What kind of direction will they be going with this? When you hear experimental, indie, what are your thoughts about that? And does it worry you that maybe it might take too much of a departure, or are you okay with them taking a big departure?
Oh man, this is a hard one to try to decipher, considering that Hercules is one of my favorite Disney movies. Because the thing about Hercules, it was so adult but still kiddie at the same time. Because there was a lot of dark stuff going on in Hercules in the
Uh-huh.
background
Uh-huh.
when you were watching it, and I don't understand the inspired by TikTok. So
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit more.
okay, because like when you say expired by TikTok, I think like Hercules is going to be twerking the Meg The Stallion songs.
No.
Is it She-Hulk inspired? That's honestly what has me getting. This scares me. The only thing that I think is keeping me in line is the fact that it's directed by Joe Russo, and I trust his experimental mind, I'm guessing. But with this character, like Joe, what are you experimenting with when you come up getting Hercules inspired by TikTok? Like I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure myself, but let's dive a little bit further into this. Let's see here. Um, it says Russo says the live action Hercules will also be a musical, and share the original's unconventional approach. You know, he says there are questions about how you translate it as a musical. Audiences today have been trained by TikTok, right? What is their expectation of what that musical looks like and feels like? That can be a lot of fun and help us push the boundaries a little bit on how you execute a modern musical. So it sounds like that inspired by TikTok very much is the sense of we are fully going musical here. Um, but are they trying to reinvent the musical is what it sounds like to me. The fact that they're trying to execute it into a more modern musical, which I don't know if anything is currently wrong with today's musicals that we have to where you've got to make it more modern. I mean, I look at Into the Heights on HBO Max. That's a musical. I thought that was a fantastic musical. I was a big fan of La La Land that came out several years ago. I think that's a modern musical also. So, you know, when you're saying audiences today have been trained by TikTok, is that like, hey, this is a musical, but because of the fact that we know audiences have like a 30-second attention span, are our musical segments going to be like just 30-second clips, like TikTok clips or something in between this movie, to kind of balance things out? I really have no idea, guys. I have no idea, but I can say I am concerned. I am a little bit worried. You're telling me you're going to experiment with the tone, and then you're going to be trying to make a modern musical inspired by how audiences deal with TikTok. And I'm just like, I feel like that's an attention span thing. I don't necessarily know if I need my musicals like that, Indy. When you hear him say that, though, what comes to mind? Are you even
It,
more worried now?
is it a marketing ploy to make the movie TikTokable, if that's a word?
Interesting. That'd be interesting for
To
marketing.
where
Marketing ploy.
the segments in the song are something that could apply themselves to users on TikTok in order to boost, you know what I'm saying, like the interest and the longevity of the movie. That's the only thing I could think of that I would be okay with them doing it. I don't want TikTok inside Hercules, but you can
Yeah, I
use
don't want to see that TikTok logo anywhere.
yeah, you can use Hercules to inspire things on TikTok. I can get with that, Just don't make cats. As long as you don't make cats, it should be all right.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the type of modern musical we're looking for, right? Like of all things. And listen, I get the sense of when it comes to Disney, some people tired of maybe the approach that they've had when it comes to live action adaptions. And I have no problem in the sense of taking liberties to make significant changes or some changes here or there to make the overall story that you're adapting better. But some, but sometimes I think maybe we get too creative. I don't want to say too creative. That's I don't know if that's such a thing, but maybe we're stretching the boundaries maybe a little bit too much here in regards to how different does this need to be in order to get people back on board with a sense of accepting live action remakes for Disney movies. Listen, I'll give Guy Ritchie the benefit of the doubt. I think he did a great job with Aladdin and turning it into a $1 billion film. Could the same certainly be done here for Hercules? Anything is certainly possible at this point, but I can't lie in a sense of what my own expectations were for Hercules are now very much butting heads with the creative choice and direction that the Russos want to go. But again, these are just words. We haven't seen the true execution of it to see what it looks like. And maybe it will just hit us completely differently when we get that first teaser trailer or that first official trailer to fully see, like, just saying it and contextualizing it into something that we can actually see for ourselves are two completely different things. So maybe once it actually comes together, we'll have a different perspective and a point of view on it. But man, this really threw my own expectations certainly out of the window, and now has me a little worried and concerned for the Hercules film. And I'll be honest with you, Indy, like I don't necessarily know if the Russo brothers have had the best track record since they've left the MCU. Maybe Gray Man, I think some people were probably fans of over on Netflix. But I don't really know too much work that the Russos have done recently that have garnered them the attention of when they were with the MCU. Then again, it is Marvel Studios. That's it's a huge bullseye as it is. But so I am a little concerned. But I will reluctantly give this a chance still. How about you?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know. I got to see more. I got to see more before I decide whether I'm gonna give it a chance or not. This might be something where I just one day I got my girls and I'm sitting down with them. I just put it on because they won't be quiet. So, and then if they like it, I'm for it.
Yeah, we'll see if this is a correct or a great way to experiment with movies. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted as we get further details, guys. But let us know your thoughts in regards to the live action Hercules. Hearing that it's going to be experimental and inspired by modern day audiences TikTok. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. I thought I saw a comment here. What's up, Frankie W? Good to see you in here, Frankie. He says, bummed about Stargirl, lots of potential there, and a nice little world was being laid down, but happy they get to put a period after their work. I definitely agree with you there. Marcelino says, people complain about the live action remakes, but it's a two-way street. Almost every live action remake is a $1 billion success, but original movies like Woman King and Bros barely make $200 million. Yeah, I just think audiences viewership has certainly changed. I think the superhero comic book genre, the big bombastic films have really gravitated to audiences have really gravitated towards them in regards to going out to these movies. Right, when you go to the movies, this is the type of spectacles you want to see on the big screen, whereas maybe some of the other films, the original movies like Woman King, which I hear amazing things about and is on my wish list to go ahead and check out, more I don't want to say independent films, but if you're not DC or the MCU or even Star Wars or these big franchises, yeah, the box office has been pretty rough. But I just think it just shows you the palette of audiences and viewers and how things have changed over the past several years.
I think it goes even deeper than that, sir. I think it goes to parents sharing experience that they had with their kids. If you look at stuff like Aladdin, Cinderella, or even like the Little Mermaid that's, you know what I'm saying, getting ready to come out. Those seem like live action remakes that are being done and honest to what their counterparts were as a new experience for the new generation to grow up with. Something like this, like Hercules, seems like it's chasing a dollar rather than, you know what I'm saying, reintroducing something to, you know what I'm saying, a younger fan base that maybe their parents can go enjoy. Because what's going to happen with the Little Mermaid, watch as soon as people go watch the live action movie, watch the streams on Disney Plus of the old cartoon go up. You know what I'm saying? So they
Yeah.
can see it's a gimmick behind everything. I don't see a live action Hercules with the way they're saying it, making the Hercules, you know what I'm saying, animated movie, you know what I'm saying, go up if it's too far off the beaten path. Um, when movies like Woman King and stuff like that are going to thrive through word of mouth because it's a new experience. So even when I heard, oh, that was good, that's what made me go watch it. You know what I'm saying? And it'll thrive and grow off of that rather than growing off of word of mouth from prior history.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. But I also kind of see Hercules like this being sort of that next generation of storytelling, that the Russos are trying to tackle. Like you said, you mentioned the idea of like, now that we have these remakes for this new generation, um, it is one of those things like this, it feels like this is what the Russos are kind of going for, knowing that their new generation is very much avid TikTok watchers. The concept of having a change in musical via audiences views on TikTok, that's just a whole different box. But that's just a whole, something else entirely in regards to what we've seen in the past. But if we are looking at new generations here, I guess that's one way to do it. So we'll see if this actually works or not, or if it is a failed experiment. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted. All right. And I think with that out of the way, Indy, I think you know what time it is, man. And we don't got Stuart here. So I'm gonna need you to let us know what time it is, my guy.
Oh, you already know. It's time for live viewer questions. Questions.
And we're gonna get into your live viewer questions here today. I know we usually get a bunch of Power Ranger questions, so I'll dive in and out of Power Rangers and MCU stuff for you, Indy, so we can have a nice little balance here. And whatever I certainly don't get to today, guys, we definitely will go ahead and tackle in its own separate video. So as always, when it comes to live viewer questions, guys, let me go ahead and pull up this banner here. Always check out our YouTube page. Go there certainly first. When you go to the YouTube page, go ahead and click on that community tab. As you see here, we've got the community tab highlighted. Usually after Wednesdays, we will go ahead and post a live viewer question post that you can go ahead and submit your questions on. And let's go ahead and pull these up. Sort by newest first, and we'll start at the bottom. Jessica Friedman, what's up, Jessica? Always good to hear from you. With the cancellation of Stargirl, could Superman and Lois be next? And could HBO and Max save Superman and Lois if the CW cancels it? India, I gotta think if they do get canceled. I'm not expecting them to get canceled this season. I don't know if this season would be the last. I mean, if you're going to announce Stargirl cancellation with this season, I would think maybe you would want to get ahead of it and make an announcement sooner rather than later for Superman and Lois. So I do expect maybe at least one more season out of them. But if they were to move, God, I hope HBO Max picks them up. I just can't imagine that they would want to not have the show airing anymore, considering how great it's been and the positive outcome that it's had. But I might have said that about Stargirl also, but I do feel like Superman and Lois is a different tier here. And with how popular it is, I would think that you would want to keep it on HBO Max. But what do you think, Indy?
It's a two-way street with this. One is Superman. You know what I'm saying? It's popular enough and it's doing well enough not to cancel. Two, Henry Cavill is back, and he wasn't there the whole time Superman and Lois was going on. We know as
Good
how the
point.
former heads of DC like to do. When they're going to use something in a movie, they tend to take that character off of television aka Deathstroke, Suicide Squad, different things like that. So it just depends on how this new management and everything is going to handle it. I don't see the plus in taking away something that's profitable, but they seem like really big on not confusing fans on what's canonical to the movies and what's canonical to television.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that before. Now that Henry Cavill is back, oh man, Tyler, you better
Better
find you
bulk
another.
up.
Yeah, you better bulk up, man.
Start looking like Superman.
Start sounding like him. I'm gonna need you, Tyler, to make a video of you putting together a computer. I'm gonna need you to do that and post it on Twitter immediately.
Start playing Dungeons and Dragons or something, bro. Like you got to do something to get your fan base up.
Yeah, gotta work on that. Marcelino, he says this might be too controversial. Okay, Marcelino with these controversial questions, man. Trying to get us in trouble, getting us banned on YouTube. Quantum TV is a black YouTuber. Quantum TV, a black YouTuber, justifies The Little Mermaid getting over 1 million dislikes and explains why majority who hate that Ariel was race swapped aren't racist. He believes that any race swapping is a racist stunt because it uninstalls one person's race because they feel like they're represented too much and reinstalls the different racial group they think belongs in that person's place more. Whenever the argument of Ariel being a fictional character, his co-argument is that Ariel is a fictional character with established lore and an original look that people grew up loving. He also says it's hypocritical to say that Ariel's race can be changed because she's fictional, but it's not okay to whitewash black characters like Black Panther or Blade. He believes Disney is profiting under the word diversity, but not actually bringing true diversity. He thinks that a better solution would be have an original story that takes place in the Little Mermaid world and have Halle Berry, play an original character. The reason why he likes that idea more is because it properly represents black characters through their own strengths and not rely on the past strengths of white characters. He says that he experienced racial injustice. He says that he experienced racial injustice, but doesn't champion race swapping because knows what it's like to be put out because of his race. He ultimately states that this only devalues race to be used as a costume to be worn for profit, because at the end of the day, once Halle Berry's Little Mermaid comes out, Disney will immediately shove it in the background, then shift their focus on the original Little Mermaid. What are your thoughts on this? And he did give us a link to that also.
Whew, I guess this was the day I was supposed to be on the show.
Oh my God.
Okay. This is a loaded question, and I understand why.
Very loaded. It's a lot of questions. So if we
get, I understand why Marcelino brings it to the forefront, because these are conversations that I feel need to be had from
absolutely
on Medium when it comes to like this. All right. When it comes to Miss Berry and the talents that she is, first, let's not disregard the machine that is behind her as a recording artist, and seeing that she signed, you know what I'm saying, to Beyonce or whatever. And this role with her being a solo artist is something that's going to bring more sight to what she's doing, and separate her from her sister, and you know what I'm saying, different stuff to go on in order for her to become the next Beyonce, because that's what she's being platformed as, you know what I'm saying, by the machine that's behind her. All right. So what do? You go get you put her in a prominent role that was probably brought to her, that she auditioned for, and outlasted the other people that she auditioned for, because she's more talented. You know what I'm saying? She's a better actress because she's been singing her whole life, creates her own music, and does everything she's going to do. So don't just put it on what Disney is doing when there's a whole machine behind her pushing her, as they should, because of the talent that she has. Okay. It's no different than them trying to put Beyonce in movies that she wasn't supposed to be in when she couldn't act, because her name was Beyonce. When it comes to race swapping, and because it's a fictional character, to me, The Little Mermaid existed way before Disney gave us what this character was. And I feel that it was just that the Disney version was the most popular. So it doesn't bother me what race ever that, you know what I'm saying, Ariel was going to be. The thing that comes to me is with this character, does the ethics, well, not the ethics, does the characterization of the character that's happening still stay true to who the character was, regardless of what race the character is going to be? The race of this character of the Little Mermaid does not affect who the character is at all. She could be an alien, anything. It doesn't affect how that story happens at all by changing the race of the character. That's why I feel race swapping doesn't have an issue. When you look at somebody like T'Challa, who is from a prominent African nation, you know what I'm saying, separated from the world, and he didn't have to go through what other people went through as, you know what I'm saying, African Americans, or go through all of that. Let's change T'Challa Caucasian, Mexican, anything else, and see if the story has the same effect or the same meaning as it does this king of an African nation. It's not the same thing when you talk about, you know what I'm saying, race swapping. Race swapping is more like when you take a movie like Gods of Egypt and tell me that all the characters are Caucasian, but the movie takes place in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between when race swapping comes to me. Yes, Disney is going to make money off of this, just like I said before with the old Little Mermaid. But this young lady in particular, you can't push her to the back burner as you would do somebody else like Brandy, or, you know, something like that, because of the machine that is behind her. When they do these award shows and do different things like that, they're not going to have the original actress who played Ariel or anything like that, whether they have the original cartoon in the background or whatever. They're going to have this girl in the forefront performing these songs, you know what I'm saying, telling people to watch these movies. You know what I'm saying? From her saying how much of a fan she was of the original movie, and that's the reason why she wanted this part to come and give her mode of what these songs and stuff was, stuff that she grew up singing. You know what I'm saying, and loving, to the original actress saying she killed me on this song. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see the difference. For somebody to say that they've dealt with racial discrimination and can stand there and stand on the side of what he said, what he's standing on, just feels real Kyrie Irving-ish to me.
Like he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, real Kanye-ish to me, because I want to know if his racial discrimination was because somebody got sat before him at a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that scream, I've been through racial discrimination, and haven't really, you know what I'm saying, dealt with the things that other individuals, you know what I'm saying, have dealt with. You know what I'm saying? Me growing up in Gary, Indiana, dealing with everything that I went through, if I was to go to Maryville, or, you know what I'm saying, Crown Point, and different things like that. But you never hear me sitting here saying that this young lady shouldn't be the Little Mermaid and all this, because I understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm never going to be screaming racial discrimination unless it's a proven point that it needs to be. I just don't understand people's ideology when it comes to them screaming about this Little Mermaid being, you know what I'm saying, black, that it's wrong that people identify with this character being white. The reason why people identify with this character being white is because this character was white at a time where having a black character in a prominent role wasn't looked at as profitable. As it wasn't the right thing to do. As we're not going to make money, people won't go see this movie if this character is black. Now that times have turned, that hip hop is prominent, you know what I'm saying, everything, the tides have turned. Black Panther made so much money, we do this. Nah, don't jump on the bandwagon of that too soon. You know what I'm saying, brother? Understand what they're trying to twist your mind into, because they got you arguing the point that they want you to argue.
Yeah, man, that last sentence, damn, yeah, that hit me too. Look, I got to admit, I definitely agree with you, everything you said there, Indy. And yeah, there are a couple of things in here that I do want to point out that really jump out at me. And again, I do think it's our duty to also check out the YouTube channel itself, or the video itself, and maybe just hear like his full explanation a little bit more outside of what Marcelino's trying to explain for us. But if what he's saying in here is true to what the guy is expressing. Just a couple of things I just kind of want to point out, right? He says he believes that any race swapping is a racist stunt because it uninstills one person's race because they feel they're represented too much and reinstall a different racial group that they think belongs in that person's place more.
Jesus.
Right. So you're immediate. So like the concept of that immediately is like they're trying to replace you, bro. You know, it's that replacement theory concept in the sense that these people believe this person should be in your place more. Where I think that automatically is the wrong mindset to go at this particular topic with. Like, if that's already your mentality, then you already have that mentality of they want to replace us or they want to replace people. And I don't necessarily believe that's the case. He says, yeah, they think they want to put a different racial group they think belongs in that person's place more. I don't think Disney thinks, oh, Haley Bailey deserves to be in this place more than another white actress. I think they just understand that. When did the first Little Mermaid come out? I think they just understand that times have just changed. That people go outside and experience life, and they see a melting pot of different cultures outside of their house.
Ni-
Um,
1989. I was 5.
1989. So it's what was that 20 more than 20 years ago?
Mhm.
I mean, times have changed since that movie. You know, we've got a huge group of different races that have come to this country more. You know, we've got more mixed babies now, right? I mean, people just want to see themselves and know that they're capable of being that themselves one day. It's not the idea of, hey, I'm going to push you out because I want that spot. Last time I checked, Indy, you can still download The Little Mermaid. You can still go to Disney Plus and watch The Little Mermaid. They're not replacing that movie. They are just simply making a new one so that people have the opportunity to see themselves on the big screen. Hey, white people, do you want to see yourself as a mermaid? We got a movie for you, 1989, The Little Mermaid. Go check it out. Hey, anybody else outside of the white race want to feel represented? Hey, guess what? We got a more modern day version of this character for you. It's not replacing anybody. It's just giving people opportunities. And I think the mindset of feeling like because somebody gets an opportunity, I can't have that same opportunity. Whoever's telling you that is feeding you bullshit. There's plenty of opportunities out there in the world that you can especially create for yourself to where you can put yourself in these particular roles and do the same things that are certainly going on. So don't let people gaslight you into thinking diversity is another word for replacement, because it's not. Diversity is about showcasing that there are plenty of people in this world that deserve those same opportunities that other people are certainly afforded to. And I think when you start taking the mindset of, well, this person, these people think that this person should be in that position, that's fear mongering. That's scaring you. There's a much bigger world out there than some people, unfortunately, don't get the opportunity to experience. He says he believes Disney is profiting under the word diversity, not actually bringing true diversity. He thinks that the better solution would have an original story. And listen, well, I do agree with the idea of, yeah, original story would be cool if you want to create a brand new character, but who wants to be the B or C character, man? Right? Like a lot of us want to see ourselves as these characters. And by seeing ourselves as these characters, it uplifts people to understanding they can be whatever they certainly want to be, not regulated to some supporting cast member or somebody in the background, in the sense of like, oh, maybe we'll introduce them. Again, nothing wrong with introducing brand new characters, but I also don't think there's a problem in the sense of just creating a new film or a new version of something that we've seen before and placing somebody else in that role so that new generations can see themselves in those roles. And if people want to go back and check out the original, guess what? it's still there. It's not getting erased from anybody's mind. It's not getting completely replaced whatsoever. We're just offering options. And that's exactly what diversity is, to be able to see what you see outside represented on the big screen. And people will hit you with stuff like this to fearmonger you, to make you think that you have to bring other people down in order to keep your place in power, or to feel like you are the only person that deserves to be represented. And that is certainly not the case. There was something else in here that you wound up putting out to me, but what did you want to say?
Encanto, Coco, Luca, Moana. I mean, there's a bunch of original content, you know what I'm saying, that Disney comes up with. Safety, the movie following Giannis, you know what I'm saying,
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying, for the Milwaukee Bucks. We can go back to like the game plan. I mean, there's plenty of movies that Disney does that shows, you know what I'm saying, representation, original stories. But because it's the Little Mermaid, is why people are having an issue. They did the same thing with Cinderella. You know what I'm saying? When Brandy played, you know what I'm saying, Cinderella, we had Whitney Houston stuff on there. I think the thing that combated that is the fact that Whitney Houston, you know what I'm saying, was in the movie, and people respected, you know what I'm saying, Whitney Houston. People don't respect this young lady, but she's gonna show her acting chops and her singing chops in this movie to earn her respect. Why can't it just be they put out a casting call, she won the casting? Why can't it just be that?
Absolutely. And I mean, look, it's just one of those things. Like, you think kids care about this stuff? No, they just want to see a movie. They just want to be a Disney princess. You know, you're going to go to conventions. You're going to see white girls, Asian girls, black girls, Irish girls, all dressed up as Little Mermaid in some sense or another. It's the kids don't see this type of stuff. It's really the adults in the room that really want to make a bigger deal out of it. And if anything, I do want to also jump on this. He says he ultimately states, oh, wait, it says the reason why he likes this idea more is because it properly represents black characters through their own strengths and not rely on the path strengths of white characters. Who's to say that the Little Mermaid that we get in the modern day doesn't have her own different strifes that she's got to handle, and her own struggles that she's got to handle outside of what the Little Mermaid from the original one had to deal with? Like, you haven't seen the script. You don't know what, the background of where this Little Mermaid came from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure it's not going to be beat for beat emotional, character personality, beat from beat as Ariel. I honestly believe that they're certainly going to have their own differences in here. So just again, this just feels very much like somebody who has taken the perspective of a black person is trying to replace a white person. And we've seen how that sort of mindset has worked for some people. New York, anybody? Shooting at Walmart, right? The reason why he shot at Walmart or whatever is because of a replacement theory. The idea that people are out here to replace you, to take stuff from you. And that's just not the case here. This is diversity, is the idea that you just want to represent other people in the world. We still are going to have our traditional Little Mermaid. We're just now going to have another Little Mermaid.
I mean,
and I just don't see anything wrong with that in the world.
y'all crapped on Beauty and the Beast. y'all crapped on the Cinderella reboot. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're actually, y'all were iffy on Aladdin. You know what I'm saying? Maleficent might be the only thing that y'all rocked with, and we finally finna have was possibly another good remake. You know what I'm saying? Let the remake be good. Let them cast the people that are going to do the roles right. That's
Absolutely.
it.
So that's just our pushback to this particular guy, Quantum TV. Maybe I'll check out his video just to kind of make sure that I understood his positions and stuff. But for the most part, no, I just can't rock with it. I just think it's a very dangerous line that he's walking.
I'm gonna watch it tonight. Like, I'm gonna listen to it tonight while I'm out door dashing. Like, I'll put it on over and check it out. But to me, this is sounding too much like Kanye with the White Lives Matter shirts he was selling.
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing. What's up, Tony Robinson? Good to see you in here, brother. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. All right. What's the next question we got here? We got Ram Jam. My question is: have you ever watched Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman and Lois with Dean Cain? Do you think it will ever appear in streaming services someday? Did you ever watch Legacy, the true story of the LA Lakers? If so, what did you think of it? So for the first question, I grew up on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. That was actually probably my first introduction to a live action Superman show growing up as a kid. I was a really big fan of it. Dean Cain was my Superman for a really short period of time. Dean Cain's kind of lost his mind a little bit over the years. I don't really know what he's gotten himself into these days, but I am kind of curious if that's one of the reasons why it's not on streaming services. But I swear I thought I saw it on a streaming service maybe like a year or two ago. So I might be mistaken if it's not up there anymore. But I used to have the biggest crush on Terry Hatcher, who played on Lois Lane. I just thought she was just so fine back in the day. So one of the other reasons why I watched that show as a kid, because I definitely had me a crush. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great for its time. And I don't think I've ever seen Legacy, the true story of the LA Lakers. I have watched a little bit of the HBO Max series. I think what was the name of that show? Do you remember, Indy? Something.
I run from everything Lakers. I hate the Lakers. So I never watch anything that the Lakers are in.
But I did check out some of the Lakers HBO Max series that there was up there. But that's about it. I don't think I've checked out the Legacy time though. But what are your answers to those?
Right now, I love Lois and Clark. I thought it was interesting storytelling, especially towards the end of the series. Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman is available on HBO Max. So it is.
Oh, so it is up there. Okay, that's why I thought I saw it.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw it on HBO Max. It's on Amazon Prime as well. Like I said, I thought it was really good. To me, it was like you, it was my first introduction to like a live action Superman, because I didn't watch the movies back in the day. I didn't watch the movies till after I saw this series.
Oh, gotcha.
So I enjoyed it a lot. Dean Cain was my Superman for a while. I had a crush on Terry Hatcher too. You know what I'm saying? One of the reasons why I sat down and watched Desperate Housewives all the time.
Amen.
Yeah. But I don't rock with anything LA Lakers. So I never watched anything that has to do with them. The whole Dream Team series, I skipped the Kobe Bryant parts.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That Lakers show I was talking about, Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. I enjoyed it for what I just hadn't finished it, but I did enjoy it. Let's see here. We also got Kurt Marino. Last week's news of James Gunn and the other gentlemen becoming the new CEOs of DC Studios. Do you think he can really transform the DCEU movies moving forward, especially with Henry Cavill returning as Superman? Just feel like him being selected after Henry Cavill's announcements were set in stone for a while. Really hope that Henry gets more focus and opportunities as the Man of Steel. We know from James Gunn's most recent projects, he's the guy who knows what's going on and how things work. Well, I'm kind of under the impression that the discussions with James Gunn and Peter Safran have been happening for months. So I don't necessarily know like what came first. Like if this guy was selected just because Henry Cavill's coming back. I don't necessarily think so. I want to say that they had people in power, James Gunn and Peter Safran, while this was going on in order to bring back Henry Cavill. I could be wrong here, but do you think he can really transform the DC movies moving forward, Indy?
I think they have, just with the return of Henry Cavill. To be totally honest with you, I think that's the biggest, that's the change more than anything that we needed, because that's what we were lacking. Man of Steel 2 is probably 4 years past the when it should have came out. You know what I'm saying? Like we shouldn't. To me, we shouldn't have had a Justice League movie without a Man of Steel 2. And I feel like bringing Henry Cavill out changes the whole direction of the DCEU movies moving forward. And you probably get a lot of people happier and willing to work with that happening.
No, I definitely get you there. And I would agree with you. I think the fact of Henry Cavill coming back, I think you're already moving in the right direction. John Schuyler says, try to tell me Billy wasn't a ladies' man. He said he's had 5 different girlfriends throughout MMPR, and the very last one we saw was during Zeo when he decided to stay on Aquitar after falling in love with the girl Sestria, who helped reverse his rapid aging. There was an interview floating around somewhere which the cast members were discussing their teammates. They talked about how David Yost was hired to play Billy as this awkward nerd, but he was actually both the most classically attractive and in the best physical shape of all of them from the beginning. Apparently, well, don't tell Austin St. John that. Apparently, that was why they had him in long sleeves so much early on to try and hide that he was more buff than supposedly more physically attractive other guys on the team. After Billy started to get more confident and the supposed influence of the other members started to rub off on him, you could see him in short sleeves more often. We saw Billy in a tank top during the bench press workout in an episode of Zeo. That's right. Those guns, man. Those guns is what John Schuyler says. It's just interesting. Looking back, especially the fact of David Yost and understanding that he's a gay man, the fact that he's had 5 different girlfriends through MMPR. God, that God had to have been a struggle for David Yost, you think?
No, I think as far as acting goes, I think the struggle he had was more on set. As far as the acting goes, I don't think it was an issue for him
I
because
get you.
the man, hands down, is an incredible actor, like beyond Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? With other stuff he's done. So I don't think that bothered him. But yeah, like they missed a total. And again, this is the times we were in, and the fact that this was a show promoted towards children. You know how they felt about that back then. They missed a total chance of making like a gay icon heartthrob. Like
I
he,
get
he
you.
was he was he was Lance Bass before Lance Bass came along.
He really was. He really
And
was.
you missed the whole birth of a movement, you know what I'm saying, right there, by keeping him confined in constraints. Because Billy, you know what I'm saying, I'm fully positive my homosexuality, you know what I'm saying, and my heterosexuality uh was an attractive man. You know what I'm saying? Like when he took them glasses off and he started to cut his hair, and he had like the cut off flannel with the white beater on,
Yeah.
and have his fight scenes and stuff like that, you'd be like, why is he bigger than Tommy?
Yeah. Why?
Like
When did Billy upgrade? Like,
yeah, like this is what happens when you go live in an ocean world and come back. You know, like was it did he train in you know what I'm saying, under 100 times Earth's gravity or something? Like it was crazy.
oh my God, that's funny.
So I really think they missed the ball with that one, and they had the chance to totally just, you know what I'm saying, adapt people's thinking. But again, back then it was too much of a risk for them, you know what I'm saying, to try something like that. People didn't want to risk money for a cause.
Yeah, you're definitely onto something there. Loved your thoughts though on that. Dino Knights Fight for Your Rights. This past weekend, Toei announced the 20th anniversary special of Super Sentai Hurricaneger. And then following Sunday, they also announced the 20th anniversary special for Abba Ranger, which we all know the series themselves was adapted into Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder. Anyways, what do you think of Toei coming out with 2 brand new anniversary specials for 2023? For the first time, us fans who love Sentai and Power Rangers, we also have 2 projects in the same year to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, so we won't feel annoyed of Super Sentai always coming out with new projects. So as far as what do I think of Toei coming out with 2 brand new anniversary specials, listen, more power to them, man. I love their anniversary specials. One, because it shows to me the love and appreciation they have for their actors, and how much their actors love coming back. I mean, can you imagine the idea of like 10 years later, 20 years later, still wanting to come back and representing these teams? I would say this. I am kind of curious if Saban back in the day was a little bit better with his finances in regards to offering people the opportunities to return, if we wouldn't have more Power Ranger actors want to return to a lot of these anniversaries. And so this is what Super Sentai is doing 20 years after is what I've always wanted and envisioned for Power Rangers. So the fact that 30 years later we're getting this cast to certainly come back for Power Rangers, it feels like we're finally kind of getting it right, if you will, because I always felt like Toby's always done it extremely right when it comes to Super Sentai and just establishing the appreciation for their past cast and everything that cast has certainly done for them. And I'm hoping that times are changing now for us here in the US where we can kind of get on that same level of appreciation. But that's what it always reminds me of. Like I always get happy for these anniversaries, like for Super Sentai, because it just makes me happy to know that they're that appreciated, honestly.
This is how I feel about this. This is how I always felt about this. Power Rangers, especially under Saban and what they were doing before they're going into what they're going into now. The only time I feel like they got new content is when they were making original content. As long as they were adapting, you know what I'm saying, older content, you were never going to have new content like what Japan gets, because Japan was creating the content and what was going on. That's why they was always going to have new series, new specials. They're going to be on autopilot because that's what they do over there with these different series. It's not just Super Sentai. It's everything that they do over there is on autopilot with how they put out content. It's the same thing with anime. Believe you me, I understand how you feel as an anime fan. We get, especially when it comes to these movies, we get the stuff 8 months after, you know what I'm saying, they had it overseas.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I totally understand what you're getting. The one thing you have looking forward to is that now that they're getting ready to create original content when it comes to Power Rangers, maybe you'll see more, you know what I'm saying, of that, more specials, more stuff that they're not going to totally depend on, you know what I'm saying, Japanese stock footage, do this and that, creating their own suits. Maybe you'll start to get more and they'll start to cater more to their fan base now that they understand, I guess, that superheroes are in. I don't know why it took Power Ranger fandom to realize that superheroes are in. And let's just hope it's not too little too late.
Nah, I feel you there. And quick, just a side mention here. The Nerd Emperor, what's up, Nerd Emperor? Says, how about Aubrey Plaza as the original Enchantress from Asgard? Any possibility there, Indy, you think?
Not with the show they have her coming in as. I would have liked that. I would have liked her as Enchantress for the Thor Ragnarok movie to start off with, or something. You know what I'm saying, something like that. But man,
Yeah, because we had Hela in that one, and I
yeah,
think I think we thought Sylvie from Loki was
it
the
was Enchantress,
Enchantress, but she certainly wasn't. So
but
maybe.
that Morgan Le Fay just fits her
I feel like,
too
yeah,
well.
that really fits her well, man. That really fits her well, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see. You might be right there, Nerd Emperor. Gabriel Glasgow, he says the animation for the film was absolutely marvelous. I honestly loved how visually comic book style the film was going for. I don't know what movie he's talking about. Dialogue for this film to me was one of the best and most clearest I've seen. I'm almost completely amazed at how dark the film would get. Seeing different variants of spider heroes was so cool and unique, though I still cringe at the robot Spider-Man along with the anime. Oh, he's talking about Into the Spider-Verse with the anime looking girl and Spider-Pig, which is also weird seeing him have two masks, his actual face and for his snout. I really love that Haley Steinfeld voiced Gwen Stacy or Spider-Gwen just before she made her live action debut as Kate Bishop. Lastly, it took me when I was watching the movie again when it became available on Netflix to realize that Nicolas Cage voiced Spider-Man Noir, which I always saw him as a detective by his costume. This movie is to this day is still a huge win for me since the movie came out. Why is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse still so well received? I don't know. It's like my number one or two, depending on what day I wake up on. In regards to best Spider-Man films. And I think a lot of people at least probably have it in its top three, if not higher than that. But why is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse still so well received after all these years?
Um, uh, Soundtrack, animation, voice acting, and respect to the source material. That it gave everybody something, you know what I'm saying, to enjoy. And like it's funny, like when people say the robot spider along with the stuff, like, man, I love that character. I love the Spider-Verse comic, you know what I'm saying, that she was in. But that's probably me as an anime fan, you know what I'm saying. I love that style of art. Spider Pig has always been hilarious to me. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, you only saw about maybe a third of spider heroes, you know, that we know of that exist, you know what I'm saying, in the comics. They didn't oversaturate the movie. It was well paced, like I said, well directed, well voiced. The soundtrack kept you moving. They got you in and out of scenes. Well, it's just a well put together movie. That's why it's always going to be well received, because it's a movie that, as a parent, I can sit down and enjoy and watch with my kid, and he's going to be enthralled in it because it's Spider-Man. But I can also sit there and I don't feel like I'm watching Bluey. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
because although Bluey is A1 kids television, but you see what I'm saying? Like, I can't watch 20 hours of Bluey, but I can watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for 20 hours, you know what I'm saying, on repeat. So they made something that appeals to every age ranking, and just did a very good job with the movie.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely second everything that you mentioned. And for me, I think the involvement of Peter Parker in the movie, along with Miles Morales, really went a long way. The idea of like a teacher and his apprentice sort of thing, trying to help him get comfortable in his own particular role, I think really did go a long way in establishing a great partnership for this movie that I think a lot of people really enjoyed. So just add that on top of everything you already mentioned. Um, I will come back to your question here, Blossom, if anything. Let's see here. Datilla, what's up, Datilla? She says, hey guys, with Black Adam being a success, do you think The Rock would achieve the level of success he has now when he transitioned from pro wrestling to acting? The Rock has come a long way since his days as the Scorpion King. Andy, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I saw it. I don't think I saw it. Maybe in his early iterations, like had you told me like Rocky Maivia, his time as The Rock, transitioning over. I'm trying to think if he's like the first successful pro wrestler to truly do that. I remember seeing Hulk Hogan in some movies, but they were trash movies.
Suburban Commando and No Holds Barred are classics.
I mean, classics to certain people, I guess.
Suburban Commando
But
is a classic.
he don't got the resume as some other these wrestlers. Like even like I would even put The Rock and John Cena above those classics, man. So I just never thought it would happen. But he he was always so entertaining though. He always had that it factor about him in WWE, that there was a part of you that could always think, man, he could transition into something else for a career outside of pro wrestling. But the idea of him as acting, because it is, I mean, just because he performs in WWE doesn't necessarily make you a great actor. He definitely had his struggles, to say the least. But yeah, I didn't expect him to be like one of the bigger grossing actors of our day and age. I mean, I feel like he brings with him a following. He's gonna put butts in seats. He's just a walking promotion, man. I mean, this guy's incredible at what he does. But I didn't think he would ever get to this point after his departure from wrestling.
I'm gonna say 4 movies that he had were the ones that let me know that he was gonna be one of the biggest things ever, to be totally honest with you. Walking Tall, Be Cool, what's the one, I just said the name of it and I can't remember it. The Game Plan, and The Rundown. After seeing the way he acted in those 4 different places, those 4 totally different movies, and seeing how he did all of them, I knew the action stuff was going to go, because anybody can do action. If friggin' Tom Cruise can still fly jets and jump off up and all that stuff and be an action superstar, he had the look, he had the size to always do action. But my thing was the movies that he chose to do, more comedic, more serious, you know what I'm saying, going and do those before he got into the action flicks, and doing that is what showed me that he was going to make it. It just depended on what roles, you know what I'm saying, he chose to be in. And the fact that him and his ex-wife started that $7 production company, you know what I'm saying, and started to do their own movies and put them out, was when I knew he was dedicated to being something, and he wasn't just a wrestler that was going to act out of popularity. So yeah, the Scorpion King, I freaking hated all that time just to see him as a CGI, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
character at the end. But then to turn around and do the Scorpion King movie and then actually be something, you know what I'm saying, was dope. But those 4 movies right there, especially The Game Plan, because The Game Plan surprised me in the role he played, and his acting alongside the young girl and stuff like that, and his role in Walking Tall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh,
Taking that
yeah,
true story
yeah.
and something serious, having the comedic aspects, and then Johnny Knoxville role in that, and then playing off each other showed me that he had what he needed to make it. It was just knowing if he was going to put the effort in to do it.
Yeah, no, you make some great points there. Let's see here. We also got Adrian Perez. SPA and Aisha and Min says with the MMPR reunion special coming next year, and since we know Adam and Aisha will be wearing special uniforms with badges that say SPA instead of SPD, according to Johnny Young Bosch, what if Billy met Kat Manx from SPD 2 years before the events of SPD, and they both worked on developing the SPD powers, either for A Squad or the main team B Squad? We don't really know which SPD besides Kruger's original team from his own planet, but in MMPR, Aisha had interests in taking care of animals and helping people, so maybe now she's a veterinarian for alien animal species, perhaps. Perhaps Aisha, who had already met Trini's, has also already met Trini's daughter for a while, and if Min does become a Yellow Ranger in honor of Trini, Aisha realizes that it's only one of them could be the Yellow MMPR Ranger when they are called back to action during the reunion. Perhaps she does morphly brief, but then she gets hurt during the fight with her power. A fight, her power coin gets restored, leading Min to take over as Yellow Ranger. Possibilities. I definitely see your speculations here in regards to how this all could work. Nothing clearly is set in stone as of yet, but I do think it's some pretty entertaining and enticing theories and concepts that you're kind of coming up with. I personally kind of dig the idea of seeing if they might have met Kat Manx from SPD 2 years earlier. Like, it would be pretty trippy if they found like another actor or actress to go ahead and play her in a MMPR reunion special. But yeah, a lot of questions to certainly still go, but I'm eager for it regardless.
Man, I'm just wanting to go with the old trope that the villains like kidnap Ming in order to try to turn her into Evil Ranger because of what her parents it was. They have to come back and they have to try to rescue her and stop her from it. Just recycle the Green with Evil.
I get
That's
you.
all you have to do. Recycle Green with Evil and we'll be happy.
I am kind of intrigued to see how they introduce Min, though. I am curious what way it goes as to whether or not they've known about her this whole time. Like for me, it would be cool if Min learns about it, but has some questions, and maybe she's been on like a discovery over the past year or two, and maybe she stumbles upon the Power Rangers or finds them. I would hope also maybe that's not the case. Maybe they go the route of they have known about her, but maybe haven't necessarily wanted to place her mother's legacy on her. But maybe at this point in time, they almost have to. Or maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe the Power Rangers find themselves in that situation where they have to. And maybe she's already been trying to inquire and learn more about her mother, So it'll be interesting to see how that all meets one another. Chris Crossman, similar to my question last week, what would you think of the possibility of Chris Evans to return in the MCU as Captain America? I found some ways that could work. Secret Wars as Hydra Supreme, a Steve Rogers variant that was introduced at Hydra at a young age. Doctor Strange goes back in time and recruits Steve without telling him about his future. The obvious, we see old man Steve Rogers pop up to deliver some important news or return as a new version of the Human Torch to troll fans. So, what do you think of the possibility of Chris Evans returning, Indy, in the MCU's Captain America? And if you were to have your choice, are any of these options that you're open to?
No, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't want him returning as Captain America until it's time for our Captain America right now to lay down the shield, because I feel like it contradicts everything. The reason why Steve, you know what I'm saying, gave him the shield to start off with if he comes back. If it's something, so the person I rather have return is Tony Stark than Chris Evans, because I feel like Chris Evans' story went full circle as far as him being Captain America. He can return as Hydra, you know what I'm saying, as Hydra Supreme or anything like that. But technically, to me, that's not him returning as Captain America. That's Steve Rogers coming in as, you know what I'm saying, a villain. I feel like we have our Captain America. I would rather for Tony Stark to return, and Doctor Strange going back. This was funny to me. If Doctor Strange goes back and recruits Steve, it's everything that he told Peter not to do, and he just went and did it. So I hope that doesn't happen unless it's a thing where the world's in peril anyway. And so if the risk is less for him to do that than it is for him not to go back to get him, I can understand that. Like screw it, the world's gonna blow up anyway. So how much worse can I make it type situation? But as of right now, I believe in the Captain America we have now, and I feel like he needs his time to show that he can lead. And I just feel like bringing back Steve Rogers, even within like the next 4 years or something like that, is just something that will undermine everything that they're building this cap up to be. You might be muted.
I definitely understand where you're coming from there in that regards. For me, what would you think of the possibility? Look, I would agree with you. I would say let Anthony Mackie maybe have his time as Captain America, and when he's ready to lay down the shield, maybe bring Chris Evans back. I am curious if that's something that would happen after, say, Secret Wars, the Avengers Secret Wars movie. You know, after they wrap up, what is it, Phase 6? I do wonder if it's a possibility of because in the comic books he does pick up the mantle. Steve Rogers does come back to play Captain America. I don't know how old Sebastian Stan is. Hell, maybe Sebastian Stan picks up the mantle. Bucky Barnes does after Falcon, if after these couple phases. But as long as it makes sense to the storyline, I would be okay with him coming back as Captain America, but only after we've exhausted the idea of Anthony Mackie and other people being able to represent Captain America. That's not to say that I don't want to see Chris Evans return in some capacity, because I would agree that the one that really jumps out to me, I would love the opportunity to see him pop up as Hydra Supreme. I think that would be really, really cool, really fun to kind of see Chris Evans on the other side of things, what if sort of situation, not in the animated series. No, I want to see a live action Hydra Supreme at some point in time. I think that would be pretty cool. And I would even throw out the idea of old man Steve Rogers as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know how much longer Samuel L. Jackson wants to continue along here as Nick Fury. Maybe he loves the role so much that he's like, look, I'll stick around as long as you guys will have me. But in the comic book, Steve Rogers does come back without his super soldier serum as an old man, as the new lead of S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. hasn't really had as much impact in the MCU in quite a couple of years. So if anything, maybe a prominent return for S.H.I.E.L.D. with old man Steve in there, and I think that would be a great way to bring him back. But those would be my two options.
And just for those who want to know, Anthony Mackie is 44, Chris Evans is 41, and Sebastian Stan is 40.
Okay, so we got some time. We got some time for those two. Let's see here. Now we're really getting deep into some Power Ranger talk. Let me see here. Michael Rhymes, second opinion from my live viewer questions from last week. We talked about how Dino Supercharged kept mishandling the extra Rangers, where they kept leaving due to Japanese footage. The Rangers randomly showing different character traits and personalities when the Rangers fight because of the Sentai footage. The more I rewatch the series, the more I see them used when most necessary. Oh, it does give more breathing room considering we already had this main 7 Rangers. I do wish we saw more of the extra Rangers outside of the costume by having the Energems and Dino Charge non-functional or damaged. So when it comes to Cosmic Fury, I'm really excited. Everything will be new original footage except for the Megazord fights. No longer having to worry about editing around Sentai footage and with the Rangers themselves. Yeah, I just think doing everything original footage just really allows for more creative freedom, and you don't have to match up performances with certainly what came before. It's and then it's not necessarily just Dino Supercharge either. I feel like we've been able to see this in other series as well. I think for me, Dino Supercharge was just its difficulty of being able to balance all the characters that they certainly had for that particular season, that I think was just not handled extremely well whatsoever. But when it comes to Cosmic Fury, I am really pumped about the idea of them really using original footage. But what do you think about that, Indy? With Cosmic Fury kind of being that like quasi Dino Fury season 3. I know you haven't necessarily watched. I don't think you've watched all of Dino Fury, but Cosmic Fury in general, the idea of them doing like more original footage and only using Sentai footage for the Megazord fights. How do you like that idea?
It kind of feels similar to, like, I guess Disney, when Disney had, you know what I'm saying? And it just felt real. It, for a lack of a better term, it makes the experience for us feel something personal to us rather than just getting recycled footage. You don't feel like you're just Japan's secondhand audience. You know what I'm saying with that, and I'm looking very much forward to it. I think that's something that will make me grow interest again in Power Rangers, rather than me dedicatedly mostly watching Sentai and then watching Power and see where they messed everything up.
Yeah, I get you. All right. So with that, guys, I think that will probably wrap it up for us here. In regards to live viewer questions, we are over the 3
Wait,
hour. Oh,
wait,
go ahead.
wait, wait.
You got one more? Why you skip me? Well, because you were talking about Dino Fury season finale. You asked me a question as to what, not season finale, but you asked me if I had watched it all. And I'm not trying to get into that as of yet. I know you said you're not spoiling, but you're asking a question I can't really answer right now just because of I haven't had the opportunity to watch Dino Fury yet. But I promise, Blossom, I will go ahead and tackle it in live viewer questions for you in the video. I'm probably going to record it. If not tonight, then definitely tomorrow for you. So I haven't forgotten your question, Blossom. Trust me, you will be the first one up once we get to answering live viewer questions. Come on, Blossom. I ain't going to forget you, girl. What you talking about? But yeah, so thank you guys, everybody, for all your live viewer questions. We certainly will get to them in a separate video. So definitely stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely let you know. But thank you very much, guys, for all your live viewer questions today. And Andy, thank you for joining us, man, and breaking those down with me, bro.
Well, beautiful thing is off next Sunday as well. So
hey, we'll have you back. Nice. Maybe we'll have the entire trio on board then for sure. So I'm really looking forward to that.
yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that will wrap it up for us here, guys. Enjoy your weekend wherever you were certainly at. Having fun with your friends and family here today. But Andy, before we go, if people need to reach out to you, where can they find you?
It's been a minute since I did this. First and foremost, you guys, make sure you follow us right here at the YouTube, because I'm always here at the A Plus Hero Report YouTube. You can follow us at A Plus Opinions and over at the Facebook page. If you want to check out what I'm doing personally, you can follow me at Nerd Mix Alpha, or over at the anime page at Anime Assemble on Instagram, or stream my music. Just search Indie Uchiha.
Awesome. We appreciate it, Indy, as always. And guys, if you want to follow us on social media, right up here at the top at A Plus Opinions, very active over on our Facebook page. Also catch us over on Instagram and Twitter. And until next time, guys, that'll do it for us here. So do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A Plus. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.